Yo, what's going on, everybody? Shout out to everybody on this wonderful Saturday morning. Pleasure to be here once again. Thank you guys for patiently waiting. Sometimes I got to get everything together. Plus, brother was starving. Had to eat something real quick. Just keeping it real. Anyway, hope you guys are doing okay. Uh, like I said, the weather is changing. Things are looking nice. Getting into that spring type temperatures. I mean, today is a little, you know what I mean. But high of 52 on the East Coast in the New York area. It's 46 right now, so it's not love. It's not love. There's a movie called The Perfect Murder. One of the famous lines from that movie is, "It's not happiness to see me." Well, it's not happiness to see 46 degrees right now after we had 70 the other day. But that's okay. That's okay. Because looks like Monday it's going to be nice, but starting Tuesday, we're getting 70s for about 5 or 6 days. Actually, 3 of those days we're getting 80s in New York. Let's go. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Spring weather. Although that's kind of like, this weather's crazy right now. We've been dealing with a lot of wild stuff. So I don't know. I'll take it. Um, I don't know what that means for us though, as a a society, how this weather has changed so much. We had a mild winter. I don't know. Things is crazy. Anyway, hope you guys are doing good out there. Uh Always a pleasure to see y'all. Shout out to the chat. Thank y'all for being here and rocking. We got Angel Torres in the building. Salute. Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you for being here as always. JJ's in the building. Salute, my brother. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, wait, wrong show. Kareem Grant. What up, twin? Good to see you, my brother. Oh, and thank you, JJ. It, it's a work in progress. It's tough. I mean, like, you know, I will say this. There's been some good days and then there's been some bad days, but there's more good days lately than there are bad days. So hopefully we're still trending in the right direction. There's still some stuff that we haven't been able to get as of yet. But like there's some treatments that obviously we can't do as of yet because like this stuff is really expensive. I don't care. I mean, thank you to everybody for the GoFundMe, but stuff is just expensive and you have to we have to try to take it day by day, what works and what we can do, what makes sense. The other thing is some of the medications or the stuff that she can take, we couldn't find. It's out of stock, so we got to wait till it comes in. So that's important. And yeah, just gotta get to the point where her immune system gets a little stronger, she can feel a little healthier, then she can get into physical therapy, and then once she gets into physical therapy she can get back to moving around and doing what she's used to doing, and we'll go from there. But I thank you, my brother. I appreciate you for asking about that. uh I think everybody, you guys have been great. um and I can't tell you how much it means that like I said, you guys have supported throughout everything. And you know what, let me do this. Not for you guys, you guys have all done fantastic stuff, but just if there's anybody new out there who wants to share or support, then they can do what they want to do. I appreciate it. Okay. All right, so Kareem Grant, like I said, what's good? Salute, twin. Good to see you as always. I appreciate you, my brother. Andy N is in the building. International Andy, folks. Guys, if you haven't had a chance to, please do go check out International Andy's um, latest show on Nothing But Knicks on NBK. He had an interview with Daniel John from Germany. Basically, you know, if you're not familiar, Germany has their own Nick fan base, right? They call it Germany. I think it's Germany Nick Nation, but I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But yeah, they have a really nice contingent over there of Nick fans that they've gathered, and they try to come to New York to the Garden once a year. They try to get everybody together, as many as they can, and take that trip, which is a long trip to come from Germany to New York, and come to a Nick game and do the whole experience. So shout out to them. Shout out to Daniel John, and shout out to Andy for having a dope show, dope interview with him. So appreciate him as always. So guys, definitely go to Nothing But Knicks. And if you want to search for like previous videos, you go to Nothing But Knicks, and then you click on the videos tab, right? And that's where you'll be able to see, or maybe even live. But either way, if you click on the videos tab, you should be able to find Andy's most recent video that he did. So shout out to him. Called Mega's in the building. Salute. What's good, my brother? Appreciate you as always. Anna Grill is in the building. Salute. Good to see you. Yeah, man. Like I I didn't I knew what was happening, and I didn't want to get myself invested in it. So I'm sorry for some of you guys who or gals who may have kind of was watching it intently to see what would happen, but I saw the writing on the wall a couple weeks ago, and and then last week definitely. So I was like, you know what, forget it. It's over. The pick is over. At least our Knicks are playing good basketball. They're a playoff team. They're the fifth seed, and you know what? The point of getting these picks is to make your team better, to get players, young players that can fit into your system. And let's be honest, the Knicks have done that. So. As much as we'd like to have another new young player, maybe there's one that we really hit on. Sometimes you just gotta say, hey, it's just not in the cards. But at least our team is playing well. You know, it's all you can do. Travel Vibes is in the building. Salute, brethren. Good to see you. The Brew Crew Sports is in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Shout out to my guys, Phil, Jiggaman, and Hector. Definitely, support and tune into their show on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. They do a great job of putting content together for you guys. They get great guests. They've got so much going on with the Yankees Morning Brew, the Knicks Morning Brew, and the stuff they do with the Degen Sports Network. They just had an event not too long ago. I forgot what bar it was, but they did a live watch along event there. And it looks like it was a pretty good turnout. Really nice. Jiggaman's been in the area, which is pretty dope. And he got to chop it up with Hector in person. So yeah, man, good things, good things. Support these guys, man. Great show, great content. I appreciate them. They're part of the fam. Shout out to Keith Turner. What's good, my brother? Appreciate you as always. Good to see you. There's Jigga Man right there. What up, Jigga Man? Appreciate you, my brother. Dwayne Dennis is in the building. Salute, salute. Appreciate you. Let me see. Catch everybody. Okay, and there's also obviously people tuned in that may not be in the chat. Thank you. Salute to you guys as well. Yeah, it's so interesting to see how the Knick fan base goes up and down in reference to wins and losses. When the Knicks are winning, everybody is hype and they're going crazy and they're really attentive and they want to see everything. And then when the Knicks are losing, people are like, I don't know, I don't want to hear Knicks stuff. I don't want to talk Knicks today. It's always interesting. I think it's funny because it shows our level of emotion. New York is a wild fan base, man. We were really intent on what we got. So if it's our team is doing well, you're gonna hear it. And if our team ain't doing good, we're kind of quiet. But it's really dope. It's really dope. Keith Turner says, I ain't mad at Dallas. I would have done the same thing. Yeah, I mean, listen. They basically just did what we hoped the Knicks would have done years and years ago, but every year towards the end of the season when the Knicks could have done that, they decided to play hard and win the last 4 or 5 games of the season to change their odds. So, I don't know, maybe it's just something about the integrity of basketball and how these guys feel about what they're doing, but you guys know the Knicks did it like 3 years in a row. Each time we had a chance to get a good pick or a good lottery selection, and we won the last 4 or 5 games and changed our lottery odds. It was crazy, and we did it 3 years in a row, basically. Dallas said, "You know what? Mm-mm. We need help because our team stinks." That's basically what they said. Mark Cuban said, "Our team stinks. We need help." I mean, it's ridiculous. But one thing I do hope is that the NBA does come down and crack down on some of these teams. We worried about Dallas because it directly affects us, but I think there's some other teams that have done some skeptical stuff in this last 2 weeks. So, um, yeah, get on it, Adam Silver. Let's get it cracking because if you're going to talk about the game and how there's you know certain level of competitive balance and how people have to think about the integrity of the game and not worry about their franchises and all that, then you better crack the whip. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. um Let me see. Oh, nice. JJ is going to the Met game today. Dude, I wish. Now, I've kind of taken it easy with going to these outdoor, I mean not outdoors, but like to these outings and events, being surrounded by a bunch of people. Obviously, you guys know how that's affected my family. So, and can't really afford to catch anything again. Definitely not right now. So I'm envious, my brother. Now, at some point, maybe I will be able to make it to a Met game because it's outdoors. Maybe I get my little seating, whatever. I won't even get a nice ticket. I'll probably buy a cheap ticket away from people and just kind of do my own thing. Um, but we'll see. Yeah, because the indoor events and stuff like that, the congestion and being on top of people, and right now, even though how many people are wearing masks, how many people are doing what they need to do, how many people are washing their hands and Purelling and all that stuff that they used to do before. Not a lot of people are taking that stuff seriously. I can't blame them. People want to live their lives, and I get it. But quite honestly, people are still catching it. And, just because you are taking it a certain way, other people are affected. And unfortunately, my wife is one of those that's supremely affected by it. So I just, like I said, I have to kind of take it easy and really understand that, you know, it could be dangerous. And then there's a lot of other weird stuff going on that we don't know about. So with the whole thing, so I'm just a little cautious right now. Anyway, all right, enough of that. Back to the Nick talk. Louisiana Knicks is in the building. Salute, my brother. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Um, yeah. I, why, JJ? Why? Why did they trade for Kyrie to begin with? It didn't make any sense to me. It's almost like he said, "Oh, wow. Well, we had Luca and we had Jalen Brunson, and they worked well together. All right, let's just bring in another point guard." It's like that Jay-Z song, "Find Another Hove." Like, no, it don't make sense. Like, it worked. The dynamic worked because Luca was the starting point guard. Jalen Brunson is supposed to be the backup point guard. Now, over time, Jalen Brunson's game evolved and he became better, and to the point where now you can see him as a starter, right? That's just natural progression, but you don't go out and get yourself another starting point guard. So now you got this. That's the Dallas has a lot of issues over there. Why would you go get another point guard? You got a point guard. Go get another position player that you need. They got holes all over the place over there. It don't make any sense. Oh man. Ah, okay. I hear you, brother. And shout out to you, Hector. I figured that was you. Yeah, man. No, I hear you, man. Listen, people live your lives, man, but just try to, be smart about it. And I know it's tough for some people. Some people just sick. They just don't want to continue to do that stuff. They just want to be able to do what they want to do. But every once in a while, wash your hands or sanitize or whatever. Or if you're around somebody and you seem like they seem like you possibly may be sick, maybe remove yourself from the situation a little bit so that way you don't catch it and you are respectful of others. I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's a weird time. You can't tell people what to do with their lives sometimes. They're going to do what they do. I'm just saying it's tough. But from my standpoint, I got to do what I got to do. Anna Grill says, respect the game in Tibbs' voice. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, it is what it is, man. It's a I don't know, man. The Knicks couldn't tank for years. Now everybody's found the way to do it, right? It's back. I mean, imagine it. No, forget it. I don't even want to think about it, guys, because you know what? Even if the Knicks would have got better picks, we don't know what they would have done. We don't know who they would have picked. So let's just be happy with what we got. Because, quite frankly, would you now? I know I'm saying this, guys. Don't shoot me. I mean that figuratively. YouTube. Um, would you be happier with R.J. Barrett or Zion Williamson? Don't answer too quickly, okay? Because as much as you have frustration for RJ's game, RJ usually plays. Zion, better player, never see him. Just think about that. So when it comes to those top three picks, because those were going to be the top three picks, no matter if the Knicks got them or somebody else got them. Those were the top three at that time. Garland did not show who he was until a little later, so it is what it is, right? Those were going to be the top three picks. So you only have a chance at Ja Morant. Now, if the Knicks got the first pick, who do you think they would have took? They wasn't going to take Ja Morant. They would have took Zion. Everybody would take Zion with the first pick. So that's what I'm saying. You would love to have that number two and maybe had a chance to get Ja, but the way Ja's acting and what's going on with Ja, no, I'm sure he'll rebound and he'll get everything together. But there's issues with all three of these picks for different reasons. Okay. So, I don't know. Alan Alford's in the building. He said, ha, caught you. What's up, brother Ron? Go Knicks. Ha, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you did, brother. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, definitely. Ashley Inc. is in the building. Salute. What's good, Wiz? He said the contrast between a free flowing offense with three players getting very efficient 30 plus points and our center getting 14 in last night's game was shocking. Not to me, brother. Not to me, because this is what I said the other day. Now, technically, I don't know what the Pelicans' game plan was, so I don't know if they did that. But what I said was, it's nice to see these guys out there doing what they got to do, moving the ball, playing for each other, all that stuff. What happens when the other team is game planning for these young guys? How do they respond? And I'm not saying that they game planned for them specifically, but I think they did kind of, or at least they knew who they were facing. And remember, this game meant something to the Pelicans. So how can we make them uncomfortable? Obi likes to do this. How can we make Obi uncomfortable? Quickley likes to do this. How can we make Quickley uncomfortable? And they were doing it last night. And the other thing is, New Orleans has good, a couple good individual defenders on the team. So putting a guy like first off, I you know, I think Quickly probably needed to adjust a little bit more. I mean, what shoot. Why am I forgetting his name? Herbert Jones. I mean, Herbert Jones was guarding Quickly. Herbert Jones is a very good defender with more height than Quickly. That's a tough matchup. I think he did a pretty good job. But remember, Quickly scored a lot of his points on the perimeter. I think he did a decent job, right? But you could see the difference there, and he even got his shot blocked in the paint area by Herbert Jones. I don't know if it was once or twice. It was definitely once. Um, like this is what I'm talking about. When the defense is now worrying about you and not thinking about Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle, how do you adjust? And that's something that they still have to continue to work at and get better at. That's why, looking at what they did against a team that didn't have anybody out there and wasn't playing anybody spectacular in the Wizards, you got to compare them. That's the point. That's what we try to say. Like, so you shouldn't be too shocked at it. That's the reality. But these guys are still good, and they're getting better and they're improving. But look at what happens when a team needs to win the game, and they decide that we have to play really good defense on these guys to stop them from doing what they like to do. And that's what we saw. That's definitely what we saw. Um, Hold on. Let me see if I can get that. Okay. There we go. All right. So yeah, I think but I still I'm very confident and happy with what I'm seeing from these guys. And I love this experience for them. This is great. I mean, this is nothing better than going into the playoffs and having a chance to for these young guys to get their feet wet, to be and this being thrown into this game against the Pelicans where it means something is fantastic. This is definitely going to help them in the playoffs. So yeah, man, it's great. That part is good. And they fought hard. This game meant nothing to the Knicks when you think about it, and it meant everything to Pelicans. And they fought hard all the way down to the fourth quarter, down to the last few minutes. So shout out to them. That's why this is not a bad game, and people shouldn't be down on what happened at all. Um, uh, Anna Grill says it illuminates us, including our own pick for heart. Mm-hmm. Mm. Let's see. Dwayne Dennis says, "Hey, there's no room or time to be ethical during the last week or last three games of it. Means you can improve your draft position, especially if you're not making the playoffs or play in any way." I guess, but listen, there's certain things you do and there's certain things you don't do. You know what I mean? Like, all right, you say these last few games or this last, whatever, these people aren't playing. That's fine. It is what it is. They're not playing. They're not playing. But the people that are playing that don't get a chance to really play throughout the year. They support your team. They're cheerleaders on the bench for the starters and the main bench guys. Those guys that have a chance to go out there and play, to limit them because of you thinking that overall it's the bottom line is much more important than this kid having a chance to go out there and just really play basketball, have a moment for himself. Like, so basically what you're saying is you want to get a pick so you can bring in another kid so you can do the same thing to that kid if things don't go well in your season next year, right? You want these people on your team, but you don't want to give them a chance to shine and to show what they can do. They've been waiting all year for an opportunity to go out there and play and get good, substantial minutes. Now you give it to them, and then what happens? So now I bring that up because it's one thing to not play certain guys. These guys aren't playing. Fine. We know that already. But then you got guys out there like Hardy for the Mavs had a great first half. They benched this dude in the second half because he was killing in the first half. They were like, "Oh wait, hold on, Hardy's doing too good. We might have a chance to win this game." Got to sit him down. That's ridiculous. I don't care what nobody says. That's too much for me. That's too much. That's too much. Even I'm like, that's too much. That's not cool. Because as a young player, I'm out there busting my tail, showing you guys, look what I can do. I can do a little something. I got a game. I'm doing this against whoever. Look, keep me in mind for rotation minutes going forward. Like, just look at what I can do. When you give me a shot. Why would you want to take that away from a young player? Yeah. Alan Alfred says, way too early 2023 roster moves. What do you think, Ron? We got too many 6'4", 6'5" guards. We really need a long wing. Yes, we do. 100%. 100%. So let me do this while I'm continuing to read these things. Let me put the invite out there just in case anybody wants to jump on and join. And let me hit you guys with the intro, and I'll come right back. I love to offset the intro whenever I feel like doing it. It's fun. It's different. It's like it's not the norm. You know what I mean? All right, we'll be right back after this. Oh, hey guys. Sorry, I didn't know. Anyway, welcome back. Also, guys, if you haven't checked out our Monday night show for SKF Weekly, I know the material is a little dated because we're doing a recap of last week's games, and we've kind of already passed that point. But the interview was fantastic with our guy Dexter Henry. Shout out to him, fantastic guest. It was a really good conversation. So if you haven't checked that out, please do check it out. Just for the conversation alone, Dexter's a really, good guy. I mean, I say that about a couple different people, but I mean that when I reference Dexter. He's a guy that I'm happy is a part of our Nick community. Reaches out to the Nick community. Shout out to the Brew, Morning Brew, for having him, and me getting a chance to really hear more about him and saying, you know what, I'd love to interview him for our show as well. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, man, he's a really cool dude. Really, really nice to chop it up with him. And shout out to Hector, because I think Hector is going to be on SNY with Hector from the Brew Morning Brew Sports is going to be on with Dexter on SNY. So shout out to you, my brother. All right, so back to where I was. I was right here. I'll star that, JJ. I'm gonna come back to it. Ronald Bradley's in the building. Salute. Knicks will. Okay. Appreciate you. That might be true. I think you might be right on that, Andy. I think they might put Derrick Rose out there a little bit for this last game because if you guys haven't really understood that or faced it as of yet, because sometimes we in the moment we're not thinking about it. This is probably going to be Derrick Rose's last regular season game with the Knicks, so they might do something like that. Shout out to Andy for bringing that up. Well, so no, with the pick, let me see let me get the particulars, because we've been talking about this, but I don't know how many people really broke that down, right? And I knew this at one point, but time has passed and I definitely forgot. Okay, let's see how it breaks it down. Okay. Are you Come on, guys. I mean, you got to do better. They don't break down, like they talk about it, like they're going to give you some information, but then they don't. Boy. I just want to see what it is for next year, man. Why can't I just? Oh boy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, eh, it's so annoying. I'll look for it. I'll take a little time to get the info, but it's there, and I had it at one point. I just got to find it again. But it is a good question, and it's something that we all should know. But I will tell you that we don't lose the pick, right? The pick just doesn't convey. It turns into another pick next year with different parameters. So right now it's top 10 through 14 protected, I believe, something like that. So, is that what I just saw? I think so. Yeah, it's something like that, right? And so next year it'll have a different set of parameters. I think it so the only thing is I think it still remains a first round pick next year, if I'm not mistaken, because some of these protections, they start off as a first round pick, and then if it doesn't convey, it turns into a second round pick. But I don't think this pick turns into that yet. I think it's still a first round pick with different parameters um next year. But then it turns into a second round pick after that, the next year. But whatever. I'll get it. Let me see if I can find it before the show is out because I used to have it, and now all these people are just talking about, what happens if this team wins, this team loses. I want to know the parameters. Oh boy. Okay, so Alan Alford says, question is Kuzma restricted free agent at all? Um, mm, well, so he's an unrestricted free agent in 2024, right? But he's still, oh, hmm, that's a little confusing. Because look, for 2024, it says he's an unrestricted free agent, right? But this is if he picks up his because there's a 2023-24 that's next season. He has a player option, so he could decide to pick, stay with the team and make his little what is it, make his 13 million, or he can opt out. So I guess he's an unrestricted free agent. Yeah, I guess that's the way to look at it. And yeah, so no, he's not restricted. Um, okay, Andy's breaking down, getting a little bit more particular there. Yeah, so we got exactly a 20.2% chance to get the pick at 11th or 12th spot. All right. And then Andy says to be precise, 19% for the 11th and about 1.2% for the 12th. But that's only if the pick conveys this year, but the pick's not going to convey. The Dallas is threw in the cards and they folded, it's all over. uh Oh, I see your point. No, I got it, Dwayne. I know. I hear you. This is what happens. They tried to be ethical. I get it. I know. And yeah, it came back to bite us technically. But even though I'm so confused about what the Knicks would have been drafting anyway, I don't know if they would have picked the right players. But I mean, we didn't pick Donovan Mitchell because he was too small. I forgot to say my morning cup of Joe or Joanne, however, you know. Yeah. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Angel Torres says, "Are you surprised the way Tibbs has treated Rose all year? Rose said he was in the best condition since his rookie year, and not even in the last games play him to see if he could help in the play." No, no. I talked about it the other day. Oh well, yeah. I talked about it on Dope Soul Sports Talk with the Queen Steph. I'm not surprised because I think what happened is Rose came in to camp in the best shape that he's been in quite some time. The problem is, if you guys remember watching Derrick Rose in those games, it looked like he lost a step on offense and on defense. He just something was missing. And then the other thing that was happening is when he was dribbling the ball, he was making like costly turnovers, dribbling it off his foot or something. His passes were going awry. There were certain things that just didn't seem like the Derrick Rose we've witnessed, right? So I think now Derrick Rose is not the greatest defender either. You guys know that, right? He's never been a really good defender. What he makes up for it with his athleticism and his quickness. So he would get beat by players, but he would recover so quickly because of his speed and his leaping ability. He would get sneaky blocks. You know, somebody get past him, but they think they got a layup and he would come back. That speed is a little less than it was before. The athleticism, obviously, it's not the way it used to be. But I think Tibbs started to see that he might be missing a step. He might be losing a step. And obviously he's a little bit of a liability on defense, along with other players, Fournier and RJ and Randall at times, and certain things that were happening on defense. He said, I gotta make a change. And unfortunately, Derrick Rose is what, 33, 34 years old. The other thing, guys, is that Derrick Rose and Tom Thibodeau are not the best of friends, but they're friends. Like, they talk. It's a different relationship. So, maybe Tibbs can see that Derrick's heart isn't in it the way it used to be. The hunger is not there. That's that drive. Like, because I feel like just listening to how Derrick Rose talked, they had talked to him earlier in the season, and I saw him on some other stuff. It feels like Derrick Rose is like on his way out now. I'm not saying he won't play another year next year for someone else. He may, but I kind of feel like he's getting close to that. Hanging it up, and I'm done. And so I think Tibbs kind of realizes with all that other stuff going on and what I just said. I think he just like, you know what? It's time to get these younger guys in there and give somebody else a chance. And we appreciate Derrick, but I'm not going to throw him out there and if it doesn't benefit the team the way it should. And I also don't want Derrick to look bad out there, and maybe keep him in this role like a mentor, a person on the bench that can help the team. Udonis Haslam, uh, um, the dude from the Warriors. I don't know if I'm going blank on him. But you guys know who I'm talking about. The guy who's on the Warriors too, who don't play that much these days. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so you just finished up the segment with him. All right, dope, dope. Look forward to seeing it. Yeah. Hmm. I see what you're saying. We essentially gave up 3 number 1 picks for Hart since we gave up Knox and a pick for Cam and then added another in the trade for Hart. If Tibbs played Cam, we probably get Hart straight up. Yeah, the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. You ain't lying though. That's how the cookie crumbles, man. Sometimes, basketball and the business is wild how things shake out. Oh, okay. Oh, it's coming out today. All right, dope. So I look forward to seeing it. Ron Sarmiento is in the building. Appreciate you, Ron. Good to see you, my brother. Wiz says, I know for sure that we will not see you on. So you think you can dance because we all know the answer to that question. Okay, I see you. Nice. I was expect nothing less from a Yankee fan, Wiz. Sorry, Hector. No, sorry, Jigga. My fault. My fault. Oh, sorry. Salute. What's going on? Cam from the Kickback is in the building. What's going on, my brother? Appreciate you. Uh, JJ says Mavs play the Spurs tomorrow for the last game of the year. Do you never know? Even though they've obviously going to try tanking that game. Yeah, it's over. It's over. Listen, oddly enough, it almost backfired them. If Theo Pinson would have hit that game tying shot to take them into overtime, I would have went crazy. Only for the moment for Theo Pinson. Now, they probably would have lost in overtime. They would have tried to come out with 4 plays instead of 5. It would have been an automatic forfeit and then game over. But that would have been fantastic. I would have lost it. Oh, that would have been great. Um, oh, damn. That's rough. That's rough. Okay. Hey, don't get it twisted, man. Don't get it twisted, Wiz. I get the pop lock in it. And don't get it twisted. If Dallas blows it up though and trades Luca, we're never getting that first round pick from them. That's true, but we'll get a second round pick. Okay, so that's what it is. It's top 10 protected next 2024 and 2025. Yeesh. Wouch. Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Andy. Like, yeah, I'm like trying to find it. I'm like, I had all this at one point back when we had first got the picks, but I didn't save that stuff. I should have probably. I didn't know it was going to come back at this point. It's going to be so intricate. The lottery determines the pick position. So if Dallas has a 10th and one of the 11 and 14 get lucky to move up in top 10, although highly unlikely they will get the pick. Yeah. Knicks will be 2026 NBA champs in the building. Salute. Man, Luka might be traded. He's not coming to the Knicks, I'll tell you that. Yeah. What I expected, okay. All right, you guys are breaking down that pick. William Thompson is in the building. Salute. Blessings, my brother. Appreciate you as always. We'll see. We'll see if those picks do convey. I don't know. Don't know. A lot of wild stuff going on in the NBA. That's why these protected picks are not gold. They can be in situations, but they're not all the time. So we can hope, right? You never know. All right. So that being said, let's get to the game. Let's get to what we saw. All right, because there's some good things and some bad things from the game. Uh, let me see here. Oh boy, boy. And I hate to be the person that has to go in on certain players. Ernesto Duverge. So it's going to be back. Salute to you, by the way. So it's going to be back to back seasons where we don't have a first round selection and we have yet traded for a star. Yeah, but that doesn't matter, Ernesto, because we still have future picks that we can use to trade for a star along with players if we need to. But it's all about if they need a star, if the Knicks need a star, or if they need really good complementary players. We don't know yet. What will help us determine that is if how this playoff run goes. Then we'll know. I mean, Look, we honestly think that the Knicks are a star. Like a lot of people think the Knicks are a star away from being in contention to compete every year for a title, right? That's what a lot of people think. What happens if the Knicks make it through the first round and upset somebody in the second round and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals this year? I'm just saying, what happens if they do that? So you got to think if you bring in a star player, another star type player, right? Or maybe a star player, that will affect Julius Randle's game. It's going to affect Jalen Brunson's game. So you don't know if next year the product is going to be the better or worse because a star player is going to take from those guys because he's a star player. He has to. He's got to eat. That's why we got to see how it plays out. We got to see how all these games, you know, shake out for the Knicks in the playoffs. Um, because if they go semi far, you might say, wow, listen, now we got something we can build on. Now we just need to get that lockdown defender slash, wing player, 6'8", 6'9" wing or 6'7", 6'8" wing. Um, with good defensive principles who can lock it down and who can knock down an open shot, preferably a three. And then maybe you add a true backup point guard or something like that. Because I really feel like the Knicks are missing that. As much as I like Emmanuel Quickley, he's not a backup, like a true backup point guard. He's different. He's a combo guard who's really good at what he does, but he's not a backup point guard. We need somebody that can come in there, be solid, smart with the ball, facilitate, break down the defender, get to the rack, and maybe shoot an open three, but find the rest of the guys on the floor. And I'm not saying Quickley doesn't do that. I'm just telling you guys, as much as we like Quickley, understand Quickley is a combo guard. He is not a true point guard. He's different. He's different. And there's nothing wrong with that. He's special at what he does. It's just for the Knick team, sometimes you need that true backup point guard that can come in and just keep the ball moving. You want ball movement? You bring in a true backup point guard who can move the ball around and make sure everybody's, rotating. Uh, we already know that Deuce McBride is not that guy. He's a really good defender. He can go out there and help them on that end. And sometimes he can score a little bit. But as far as a point guard, that's never had been his great skill set either. We've seen him have moments where he's had a high assist total, but he does it slow and methodically. It's different. And Tibbs didn't like it. And he never had a great ability to break down his defender off the dribble and get into the paint. That's one of his knocks. That's always been a knock on him. That's why he got drafted where he got drafted. So we still are looking for that backup point guard to help facilitate and move the ball. We don't have that. And like I said, I do understand that Quickley gets assists here and there, and sometimes he gets high assist totals, but it's just naturally he's a better scorer. Like that's who he is. He can just really do some special stuff with the ball when it comes to scoring. And last night, I got to tell you, I was very, very disappointed. Shout out to Jersey Shore. Appreciate you. Salute. Good to see you. Margaret Edwards. Salute. Deuce is still developing. I agree, but Deuce is another one of those combo guards. Like when Deuce came into the league, he wasn't drafted as a point guard that's going to be a facilitator for the team. And that's how he wasn't looked at by the league either. There's certain guys that you look at like excuse me, the guy from Indiana, the backup point guard over there. That guy had high assist totals and was great at facilitating and getting guys open in college. So that's his skill set. Deuce was not known for that in college. What he was known for was his intensity and his defensive prowess. And he was a better scorer. He could score a little bit in college too. And his three-point shooting, his mid-range shooting was really good. It wasn't bad at all. But his defense was his ticket. So What, Margaret? What are we talking about here? Because I'm telling you what Deuce is. I mean, if you watch the Knick games, you can see that Deuce. You know what? Let me do this because I'm one of those people that I'm a Knick fan. I'm a fan of the Knicks, the Mets, and the Giants. You know what I mean? And I've watched a lot of great play. I've watched a lot of bad play. What I don't like is when people say that I'm being negative about something when you can clearly see it. So let's do this. Let's open people's eyes. I don't want to even be this guy. I feel like I'm somebody else. But I don't like it's the narrative is just too much. And it's not just for you, Margaret, because you're just one person. Okay. But other people feel the same way. You know what I mean? Let's take a look. All right. And I know some people might say, well, he doesn't get the minutes. You know what I mean? He doesn't get the minutes. So, how can you really see what a person's doing when they don't get the minutes? All right. Let's take a look since I'm wrong. Share screen. All right, guys, let's take a look at this. All right. So who are we looking at here? We are looking at Miles Deuce McBride. All right. And I'm just looking at the most recent games because, this is what you guys can remember of what you saw. This is like now this is going to show, hold on. Yeah. Look at that. So that's going to show all the way from April 7th to March 1st. Look at Deuce McBride's minutes, right? 18, 13, 9. I get it. It's not a lot of minutes. 10, not a lot of minutes, but whatever. 18 minutes is a decent amount of minutes. 6 minutes, nothing. 25 is a very good amount of minutes. 17, decent amount of minutes. 6, 7, 13, 8, 3. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. But let's look at when he played. Let's say I'll even keep it to 17 or more minutes. But you know what? And no, let's go with 13 because, in fairness, mm, let's go 10 because anything can happen. Right. So, in 18 minutes on April 7th, Miles Deuce McBride had 1 rebound. And look at his facilitating, guys. Look at his assist 0. Wednesday, April 5th, 13 minutes. He had 3 assists. Okay. Now, when I said about moving the ball and facilitating, 3 assists is not what I'm thinking about. But it's not bad for 13 minutes. That's okay. It's not horrible. Uh 10 minutes, 1 assist. 18 minutes, he had 4 assists, a little bit more relative, but still as a high like a facilitator, a backup point guard who moves the ball, this is not what you're looking for. You're looking for higher numbers, 5 to 6 assists in 18 minutes for a guy who's supposed to come in and move the ball to people to get them open. Portland game, 25 minutes, 3 assists. Okay. Now he had 18 points. He was hitting his shot in that game. So I'm not saying, once again, I wasn't commenting on his scoring. I was commenting on his facilitating, what we need in a backup point guard. And I'll get to my bigger point in a minute. Tuesday, March 7th, 13 minutes, 0 assists. Now you could say, and March 9th, in 7 minutes, he had 3 assists. That was good. But overall, what's let's see, what does it have it here? Regular season stats. He's averaging 1.1 assists a game. That's a facilitator. So when I say that he's not a facilitator, that's what I mean. He's averaging 1.1 assists per game. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I don't like the kid. I'm just telling you that this Nick team, if you see, we're talking about a Nick team that is trying to get to the point of contention every year. They want to get to be elite. And to be elite, these teams have good players at all of the starting positions, right? And their backups, they have key players at certain positions. Maybe they got a whole bunch of good backups too, but for the most part, teams don't have great benches. They have decent benches, right? But they've got key players at certain positions. It could be center, it could be small forward, and it could be point guard. Those are like key positions when it comes to backups. All I'm saying is the Knicks need to have a real backup point guard. Okay. And if they get a 3 and D type guy who we sorely need, that's 6'8", 6'7", 6'8", maybe even 6'9", I don't know. That'd be fantastic. That's all I'm saying. I'm not knocking the guys. I'm telling you, we know what we got. And let me tell you something right now. There's plenty of teams that would love to have Deuce McBride on their team, but that doesn't mean that they're going to use Deuce McBride in a backup point guard role. They might have him out there as a combo guard the same way the Knicks got him out there. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's tough when when you make an opinion about someone, that it doesn't mean you're bashing them. It doesn't mean, I'm just saying the Knicks, what the Knicks could use. Doesn't mean I don't like Deuce. Do if for the sake of argument, Deuce was my second favorite player on the team. I don't mention it that much anymore just because he doesn't play a lot. But it was RJ, then it was Deuce. I would tell that to Andy in all the time because Andy has a poster of Deuce in the back of on his back wall. I'm like, yeah, I would always say that. Right. Okay. You want to say Ernesto DeVert says Deuce gets many hockey assists. He is a facilitator just as much as IQ is. I agree with you. And I agree that they're the same type of player. It's just that IQ is a much better offensive scorer. They are combo guards, both of them. I'm 100% in agreement there. If I don't know if that's what you're thinking, Ernesto, but that is what they both are. They are both combo guards. Mm, let me see. Okay, let me stop this one. Um, but yeah, that was only what I was trying to get at. Um, what I was going to bring up is that I was very disappointed in IQ's approach to the game last night. I understand that IQ's in a situation where he knows that he's probably our best scoring chance. How about that? Really, it should be RJ. I'm not saying he doesn't. Parish, listen. And once again, people are going back into their feelings about a certain player and not thinking about the overall thing. There's a reason why Deuce was drafted where he was drafted. The scouting report on Deuce was a really good defender who can become an upper echelon defender in time, with the work. A combo type guard who might be able to knock down an open shot for you and can facilitate a little bit. So combo guards means you like a jack of all trades. You could do a little bit of everything, right? But the knock on him, which goes to his facilitating. In order to be a really good facilitator in the NBA, you have to be able to break down the defense. Deuce's biggest issue was breaking down the defense and getting to the rim because whether I don't know if his first step is slow or whatever it is, he had issues there. As a Nick, how many times have you seen Deuce McBride take somebody off the dribble? Have you seen him in a fast break? That's one thing. If you've seen him give the ball to Hartenstein and do a back cut and get the ball back and go lay it up, that's not the same. How many times have you seen Deuce McBride mix somebody up and get to the rack? I'll wait. I won't wait forever because the show will be over because you'll never come back to me with an answer. I'm sorry. That was funny to me. Okay, anyway. No, but seriously, I that's all I'm saying. We need somebody at a backup point guard role who can break down the defense and get to the rack. The three principle, I mean the three the principles of a point guard. Dribble, drive, and dish. Dribble, drive, and dish. Deuce can dribble. He's got a decent handle. The drive part is the issue. Him getting that first step and getting past his defender, getting into the lane, because that's when you create the pressure. Once you get into the lane, now the defender has to come up and try to guard you, or you facilitate help, drawing another defender from somebody else, which then leaves somebody open. Then you can dish and you get an open shot for somebody. But if you're not breaking down your guy and getting to the lane, you can't draw the defense. So then you're passing to somebody who's got a guy on him. That's all I'm saying. And I agree, Deuce does need minutes. I'm not saying he doesn't. I agree with you. I like Deuce. I'm just telling you that's what I think the Knicks need. Parrish, I was once like you too. I thought the same thing. But then I started to really watch the G League. The G League is horrible, okay? Don't get me wrong. Some of these guys go down there, they get their shot, and they're able to show what they can do. So you can say, "Oh, well, I didn't know this guy could shoot. Oh, he can shoot. Look." But the G League defense is horrendous. I'm sorry to say it is horrendous. Okay. I watched a bunch of G League games because I was hyped. If you guys remember, there was a point where I was doing Deuce videos, his highlight videos, and on the show on Saturday show. That was the G League videos, right? And then I start and who was the guy? Remember the guy we drafted? Not drafted, we traded for from San Antonio, 6'8", 6'9", whatever his name was. He wound up getting hurt. A European guy. And I was like, whoa, this guy's good. It was one of those things where Deuce was killing, and then that guy was dropping 28 to 30 points every night. I was like, man, who is this? We since let him go. We just let him go. No problem. And he got hurt. So I think that affected his game. Some Salmonic. Yes. Thank you, Fabian Williams. And shout out to you. Appreciate you, brother. He was killing down there, right? And then during that time, Deuce was either the third or fourth best player in all of G League. Okay. His stats, he was like the third or fourth best player. And you know who led the league, the G League at that time? Let me look at the roster because Cleveland Cavaliers. You go to the Cavs? No. He went to Atlanta. Atlanta Hawks. Rather than depending on you guys to say it, I'll do the research myself. Sadiq Bey. At that time, Sadiq Bey was the number one scorer. The number one overall player in the G League. His stats were incredible. I mean, he was killing it. Averaging almost 30 points per game. Almost. I don't know, somewhere around there. And all his numbers, his rebounds were crazy. His assists were crazy. He was killing it. When Sadiq Bey came back up to Detroit, was he killing it? No. Does Sadiq Bey ever kill it? No. Sadiq Bey is a really good defender. Well, he's a really good defender. Not great. He's a really good defender. And he can score from all levels. But for whatever reason, he doesn't always do it. I guess Sadiq Bey is similar to Josh Hart. Josh Hart's better, but Sadiq Bey does the same things. We've seen Sadiq Bey score 40 plus a couple times. We've seen him score 50. We've seen him play good defense. We've seen him dunk on people. Like, he can do everything. For whatever reason, he just doesn't always do it every night. It doesn't always come together. you could say it's minutes, but no, Sadiq Bey plays more minutes than Deuce plays. Like on average, he gets more minutes, so he gets looked at. So, but in the G League, he was killing. Remember, we had Jimmer Fredette. You guys remember Jimmer Fredette, who led the nation in scoring when he was in college. Then he came into the NBA. He couldn't get anything done. Then the Knicks eventually got him. And then we had him in the G League, and this dude was killing in the G League, putting up like 50, 60 points. I think he put up a 60-pointer in the G League. I don't want to exaggerate, but he had some huge numbers, some big moments in the G League at some point, or whatever it was called at that time. I think it was called the D League, the developmental league at that point. Then he comes back up to the Knicks. Doesn't do anything really. They give him a couple moments, a cup of coffee. It is what it is. And then I was watching some other G League games, and like, oh, and I'll just use the Knicks for example. Samonik was going coast to coast from one end of the floor straight down. There's a highlight play that I have because I had took a highlight package of Samonik. He ran straight down the middle to the rim, and they parted like the Red Sea. It was like Moses was out there. So I'm on saying this too. Don't put so much faith in the G League defense. It's bad. I don't know what it is, but it's bad. I don't know. It's like watching an all-star game sometimes. Sometimes. Okay. That being said, all right. That's all I'm saying. I don't want to knock on, like I said, I like Deuce, and I do think he's better than what some people think. I'm just saying I think we need like a true backup point guard. Like the guy from Indiana Pacers, McConnell would have been perfect. Perfect. He plays defense and he knows how to break down the defense, get to the rack if he needs to, but he also can knock down that outside shot. Perfect. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm trying to get at. I don't want people to get mad and think that I don't like our players. I love our players. I'm just telling you that would be nice. And that's what I think they need to go forward to become elite. Now, the reason why I brought that up, and shout out to For the Love of the Game. I see you, Hard Will. Appreciate you, my brother. Shout out to Hard Will and Worldwide L For the Love of the Game. If you guys haven't checked them out, by all means, please do on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, show your love for them. It's the number 4 OUR, Love of the Game. Check them out. Appreciate them. Paris Duggan says McConnell plays well against us only. Well, maybe he does, but it's just his makeup of his game is what you like to see. And also, guys, this is what I hope you guys understand too. When you look at these players, for whatever reason, remember they come to the Knicks. They're under Tom Thibodeau, right? And as much as we hate on Tom Thibodeau for certain things, he gets these guys to play defense. Now, a guy like McConnell, who already plays pretty good defense, you put him in Tom Thibodeau's system, and he fits in nicely. Margaret Edwards says RJ is the type of player who has to work really hard to be good. RJ seems that he does not have to work hard. He is drinking his Kool-Aid. Maybe, Margaret. And then we're going to talk about RJ in a little bit. But first, I want to get to Emmanuel quickly. So, all right, guys. And once again, the reason why I'm bringing it up is not to knock Quickley. I'm very happy with Emmanuel Quickley. I think the Knicks need to lock him up and pay that man his money 100%. But one thing that happened in last night's game to me is inexcusable, right? So this is why I say I think that Quickley needs to learn to make certain adjustments. And as much as I say that, I'm saying that in understanding that I don't think Quickley, that's his game. So he shouldn't have to do this. Quickley should not have to be your point guard. He's a combo guard and he's so good at scoring. We see, guys, now that you've seen how Quickley gets busy with his shot when he's comfortable, you could see he's not a point guard. He's different. He's more than that. He's a combo guard who can do much more out there. And his defense is really good. Like point guard duties are not necessarily his forte or his responsibility, to be honest. Really, Emmanuel Quickley should be the starting shooting guard for the New York Knicks. 100%. Okay. Quentin Grimes should be on the bench. And as much as I think Quentin Grimes could also be the starting shooting guard, I think Quickley is a little bit better. So I think he deserves to be the starting shooting guard for the New York Knicks. It's my opinion. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am because I think that he fits that role perfectly. Let's put the share screen up. And for those who may not have seen, the New York Knicks played the New Orleans Pelicans last night, and they lost the game 113 to 105. Obviously, the Pelicans needed this victory because they're trying to get into the playoff race. Right now, they're somewhere in the play-in, but they're trying to get into that sixth spot so that they don't have to be in the play-in. Um, so it's very important for them. But so when you look at what the numbers are here, we'll go through them. But what I really wanted to talk about right now, and the reason why I'm talking about this is because it's all about what the Knicks need to do to get better and be, um, a better opponent in the playoffs, so that they can go forward. Right? What do they need to do? Make changes so they can win in the playoffs consistently. Emmanuel Quickley played 30 minutes, right? 8 of 17 from the field, 47%, 6 of 10 from three, 60%, shooting guard type stuff. 2 for 2 from the free throw line, very good. He had 5 rebounds, very good. That's why, I love Quickley's game. He had 2 assists and 24 points. Now, Isaiah Hartenstein played 19 minutes, guys. He's your starting center. He had 5 assists. Your starting point guard, Emmanuel Quickley, in 30 minutes of play had 2 assists. That should not be happening. And if you want to say, well, okay, it's, depends on the roles, right? Isaiah Hartenstein's not Tony Kukoc. He's not Scottie Pippen. They don't give him the ball. He dribbles it up the floor. He got the ball at certain points, and he facilitated in that way. What I'm saying, and I'm not saying Emmanuel Quickley wasn't trying. I'm just telling you, I think he should have focused more on, facilitating for this particular game. Yes, we need him to score, but the Knicks were struggling, right? So you try to move the ball to get good looks and good open shots. Believe in your teammates. There was a couple shots, and this is Quickly has evolved, guys. Because before, Quickly used to take those wild, long 30-foot shots. He's calmed down with that, but there was a couple shots that he took, like a fall away jumper. A couple different times he did it that maybe he shouldn't have did it. Like, he's still learning that stuff, and so in those cases, he held the ball a couple times. We had a shot clock violation one time because of him. Uh, and there was a couple times that the shot clock was down around 5 or less, and we were scrambling to get a shot up. That's why, it goes back to, shout out to D's World of Hoops, and other people have said it, the dribble, dribble, dribble. Sometimes, he can fall back into those patterns. Got to get away from that. Got to continue to move the ball, because then we get caught. And a team like that, who's good defensively, like New Orleans can be, you can get a shot clock violation. There was also a point where RJ, inexcusably, like the last shot of the quarter, RJ has the ball. He's bringing it up, and he holds it, and the shot clock goes off, and he doesn't. And he had no clue whatsoever. It wasn't even an attempt at a shot. It's like, where are you at, young fella? Where's your head in the game? That's a little upsetting. Stuff like that is things like you have to just clean up. It's not a knock, guys. People make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. It's just those are the type of things you have to clean up, because when you get into the playoffs, those things will destroy your team. That could be a stretch. You could play a close game all throughout, and just a couple plays like that could be the difference. And then also free throws, like it could really be that tight. So that's all I'm saying. You really just gotta, lock in. And I think Quickly struggled a little bit with having I said his name already, now I forgot again. What the hell is his name? Come on, man. Come on, Ron. what's his name? Herbert Jones. Herbert Jones played a really good defense, played really good defense on Quickley in the paint area. Now, three, you can't stop Quickley. When he wants to shoot a three from the outside, he does what he does. And that's where he scored most of his points. I mean, 6 of 10 from three. 6 times 3, that's 18 points, right? He had 24. So that means he only scored another, and then he had 2 free throws. So that's 20 points. He only scored 4 points from the field outside of a 3 because Herbert Jones had him locked down for the most part. And I know you guys are looking at the field thing, 8 for 17, but remember that counts the 3-point shots as well. It's included in there. So really Herbert Jones affected Quickley inside the paint area. Inside the 3-point line, Herbert Jones did a good job on him. So yeah. Let me see here. Nick Yak is in the building. Salute, my guy. Appreciate you. Jersey Shore says, "Oh no, Ron, he's too little." Well, that's why you gotta make up for his size with other players on the team. Like you gotta, and I'm not saying like the Knicks go into this off season. Say TJ McConnell's available. He won't be, I don't think. But say he was available. You don't just go out and get TJ McConnell. Like that's not going to do it. You got to go out and get that 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" type small forward to add to the team. You have to get that. Parrish Lucker says Quickley got put out of sorts because of early foul trouble, so he was forcing offense, which he had to do lately. Yeah, he has had to, because he is the primary, and I agree with that. That is true. But don't forget he's a point guard. What is a point guard's role on your team? What is a point guard supposed to do? Last night game was meaningless for the Knicks, but important for the Pels. Yep. Shout out to Man Child. Salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you. Building Blocks is in the building. Salute. He says, if you're starting IQ, would you move Grimes or Hart to small forward and then RJ to the bench? I might. But I don't know. I'd probably move Grimes. I'd probably move Grimes. Because RJ is still at the point where I think he needs to. I think he's. I don't know. This offseason is going to be very interesting, guys. I don't know. Because I could see RJ going to the bench, but it's. Yeah. Either way, this is all tricky. You're talking about $100 million man on the bench. And in a way, you could have the same issue with Quickley being $100 million man on the bench for the Knicks in the future. So I don't know. The problem is RJ started as a start. Like he's been a starter forever. How does that affect his psyche, like as a player in this league? Always being a starter. Remember, RJ's been a starter since he first came into the league. For the most part, he, that first season took a little, but he's been a starter ever since. Even watching his peers come in and looking at him starting, and then now to go to the bench role, it might be a little tough. I don't know. I agree, Andy. I don't think that it makes sense for Quickley to be in this starting lineup. But that doesn't mean that's not what Quickley wants. Like Quickley might want to be in that starting unit, and the Knicks might have to acquiesce to him. I think he looks much better off the bench. I like the bench mob, man. I like how it's set up. So, and I think putting him in the starting lineup takes away from what he can do out there. Like you don't want to see Brunson and IQ out there with Randall I think you'd rather see IQ on the bench. Like, with he could play with one of those guys, but to play with both of them and they all move the ball around. Like, I like IQ being able to have that ability to do what he's got to do and how he wants to orchestrate for his shot. But when you add those two others, players out there, it makes it a little bit more difficult. And then having RJ out there too, possibly. Yeah. Yeah. Just think it's better when he comes off the bench. He can do a lot more. So I'm with you on that. That's a fact. Um, oh yeah, that shout out to yeah, thank you, Paris Duggar, for putting that out there. That's true. Shout out to the Yukon family over there for getting their championship. Hardwell's nephew is going to be joining Yukon next year. So shout out to everybody involved. Good for them. Good for him to be able to, like, imagine that. What a feeling that must be. I can't imagine how he feels to be recruited, to be going to UConn. Then UConn wins the national championship. Now you're going to that school. Oh man, wow. It's got to be incredible. Shout out to all of them, the whole family. Ernesto says, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case next season because they could use that in contract negotiations. Grimes' ego wouldn't have a problem coming off the bench as much. That's what I'm saying. I think Grimes doesn't care at the moment. He would do what he has to do for the team. He's been a team player since he's got here. RJ, it might be a little different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fair. I can agree with that. And I'm not talking about iHeart's defense. I was only talking about the assist. But yeah, we're in agreement there. Nick Yak says Quickley has the ball in his hands so much and has games like 2 assists all the time. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that is to me part of the problem. We talk about how nice it is to see the Knicks playing the way they're playing and moving the ball, right? So if you're if Quickley is your starting point guard, then he's the key, right? He's got to be the first person to move that ball. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I understand that Quickley may pass the ball and a guy may miss the shot. That doesn't mean that Quickley didn't pass the ball. I get it. I'm just talking about sometimes Quickley still has to learn. He's still a young player. He has to find that happy medium between when do I call my own number and when do I find my teammates. But because he's the point guard. If he's not the point guard, then you just do what you do. But the point guard is different from everybody else. This is why, remember, excuse me. This is why we've been complaining all these years for not having a true point guard like a Brunson. We've been wanting that for so long. And even sometimes people complain about Brunson that his ISO's too much, blah, blah, blah. He calls his own number too much. He's always, but when you look at the stat line at the end of the game, Brunson's got 6, 7, 8, 9 assists. He's moving the ball too. He's trying to find his teammates. It just, it looks differently how his style of play. And that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is Quickley has to find that happy medium between the two because that's how they're playing him. I don't think he should have to worry about that at all. I think he should just be out there as a shooting guard and worry about that. But we can't do that if we don't have a proper backup point guard. So Quickley's in that role. That's all I'm saying. Pudge Nice is in the building. Salute. Appreciate you, my brother. Good to see you as always. Maybe so. Maybe it's the foul trouble is what really affected what we saw. That could be the case. A lot of guys got into some early foul trouble. Hartenstein got too quick, and then they took one away. Obi got too quick, and they were just struggling a little bit out there. New Knicks City and Squad is in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you as always. Good to see you. Shout out to them. Definitely support the show. Organic Fanatics. Great content. Support them. Look for them on YouTube, guys. Organic Fanatics. Like, comment, subscribe. Show them some love. Um, Oof. JJ says, I'm starting Brunson, Quickley, Grimes at the 3 versus Cleveland. So here's the problem. And see, this is the thing. This is why, like, sometimes I'm on that whole if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you start Brunson, Quickley, Grimes, and then that means your second unit comes in. Now I know they're going to offset, but really your second unit is going to come in, and you're going to have RJ, mm, Josh Hart, Hartenstein, Obi Toppin, and whoever else you put out there. I don't feel as comfortable without having a Quickley out there or a Grimes, another option to score. Now, like I said, it'll probably offset, but I like the fact that having who they have makes the team dangerous. Like the Knicks really make up ground or extend leads because of that bench unit. Sometimes the starters aren't even playing that great, and it takes them a little minute to get to where they got to go. And that bench comes in and gets it going for the Knicks. So when you take somebody away from the bench, now after it's worked for you all year, you might wind up hurting your team, man. You might wind up hurting your team because then when their starters go out, your starters go out to get rest. Their bench comes in and our bench comes in, and then we don't have those same pieces out there. And so their bench can compete better. So then where do we catch up? Where do we make up the ground? You know what I mean? That's I think the bench is the Knicks' strength. It really is. We know how good the starters are when they're out there doing their thing, but the bench is like that's what makes us different from other teams. Yeah, Parrish, you're right. I think I agree with you. I think that was the game plan. I think I had a lot to do with it, and it was smart. It worked. Um, and speaking of RJ, so RJ played 35 minutes in his return after missing a couple games with an illness. He was 11 for 25 from the field for 44%. He was 0 of 9 from 3, and he was 6 of 9 from the free throw line for 66%. He had 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 28 points. And I mentioned this the other day. Notice that when, Julius wasn't there, RJ can go back to getting some rebounds and helping. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying there's so many good rebounders on the Knicks team now. It hurts RJ. Like he doesn't get the stats that he was getting before because everybody's gobbling up these rebounds, right? But it's good. It's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. 28 points. So, guys, at one point, RJ was like 15 of 9, no, 15 of 19. What was it? Like 5 of 9 or 6 of 10 from the field, something like that. And he was really efficient shooting 2-point shots. And he was 0 of whatever, 0 of 6 or 0 of 5, 0 of whatever it was from 3. At what point do you say, RJ, put the 3-point shot in the pocket? Just tuck it away. You know, tuck it away, man. At what point does RJ say, you know what? I know the 3 is there. I don't need to shoot it. You know what they say? They say shooters shoot. You know what I mean? And when you're in a slump, you shoot your way out of it. I've come to the realization right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope RJ does too. RJ is not a 3-point shooter. Yes, RJ shot over 40% one year from 3. A lot of it was from the corner, but he shot very well. RJ has not shot that well since that year, and he's slowly, regressed from that point. Just don't shoot that 3-point shot. I know they're giving it to you. It's open for a reason. It's like giving Draymond Green a shot from 3. Draymond Green has to be smart enough to say, "You know what? I'm not gonna continue to take these shots because I'm not really hitting them." But if Draymond Green, if he wanted to, he could. Draymond Green could easily take 10 shots from 3. He moves around the court. He's in those spots. He could easily jack them up, but he knows his percentage is not gonna be that high because he just doesn't knock them down that well. So why do it? You don't just take what the defense gives you. It's only when it makes sense. But the defense is going to give you what they want to give you sometimes. So you have to just get off of the 3-point line, dribble in, you know, or try to even dribble the ball to another spot where you bring a secondary defender to help, and maybe you get somebody else an open shot. Don't just take what the defense is giving you. And a lot of times we're stuck there because the Knicks were not having great ball management last night with the shot clock. So they're giving the ball to RJ with 4 or 5 seconds left on the clock. He's gonna have to shoot it. That's where the defense is like, yes, we did our job. It's stuff like that that man, it's frustrating. And I felt bad, man, because I don't like the narrative that has been created about RJ Barrett. And a lot of it is his own doing. It's his fault. But I just feel like he's a better player than what we're seeing. And I would hate to see him go to another team and get right. And we like, well, why couldn't he do that here? Well, he couldn't do it here because we're not patient with him. And he obviously has to flip the switch and realize that I need to change my game. Okay. Because my game is different. I realized that I thought I was one way. Things have changed because now we've seen like 2 years of this. RJ is not a good shooter. He just isn't. Okay. So at some point, you got to say, I'm not a great shooter, especially from 3. I need to focus on 2s, mid range shots, work on my layup package, lose a little weight, slim down a little bit, get a little bit more ripped, and work on my defense. That's all RJ should be doing. Will Salkin is in the building. Salute. What's good? Appreciate you, Will. Thank you for being here. He said, if RJ is the one that needs to be benched for the team's sake, that's end of discussion in my book. Non-stars don't deserve to have egos. Bars. I hear that. Yep. Parrish Douglas says Quickley is the utility fill-in point guard. He has to still stay who he is. I agree. He has to stay who he is. But at what point did management organizations say, okay, some of these guys have been put in a position that they shouldn't be in? How do I make it better for them? How do I get the most return on my value? You know what I mean? Why am I forcing Emmanuel Quickley to be this point guard when he's a combo guard, but he's much better suited at being the shooting guard? He can do so much more for us. Yes, you want to have the ball in his hands. That's okay. He can dribble the ball. You can give the ball to him. But it's nice to have that point guard that you can depend on, so that if he gets into a little spot where the defense plays well against him, like what Herbert Jones was doing out inside the 2-point area, he can pass the ball to that point guard, and that point guard can create a shot for someone else or his own shot. So that's all I'm getting at, people. That's all I'm trying to say. Josh Hart has been running backup point guard too. True. But it's different. Josh Hart is not like, he's another person who's like a combo. He can do so many different things, but and he's good at getting people open. I will say that he's good at pushing the pace. Sometimes he makes a little error throw here and there, but that's okay because he's being aggressive, and you're gonna make turnovers when you're aggressive. Glamour Knicks is in the building. Salute. Good to see you. Appreciate you as always. DSJ is in the building. What's good, Delano Steele? Um, that's what I'm saying, man. That's a lot of misses. It's a lot. 11 for 25 is rough. Shout out to Jimmy Henry. Appreciate you. Good to see you. He said Tibbs has pampered RJ, bad play, poor effort for so long that when he's held accountable by other non-starters, that he gets attitudes and mad when challenged. Hold on. Thank you, Jimmy Henry. Thank you. Yes, very true. Very true. I've been saying this for a long time, not just about RJ, about the team in general. We've been complaining about accountability and how players get held accountable for their actions and how they're treated by the organization and by the coaching staff, Tibbs in particular. Things have changed a little bit, or maybe it's the fact that some players just aren't doing the same things they were doing before, so we don't have to worry too much about them being held accountable because they're doing things in a better way. But when it comes to RJ, yes, the culture, the way he plays out there on the court is a Tibbs creation, allowing RJ to continue to jack up shots, allowing RJ to be selfish and not calling him out when you're on a fast break and got somebody open and you're not passing him the ball, or just forcing the issue, breaking down the defense and going into the paint against three players. I mean, when you're going against three players, pass the ball out. Don't try to finish the ball. Finish the shot. You know how many times we've seen in the past? He doesn't do it as much now as he used to. RJ would go for a layup, and it looks like he's not even trying to get the ball in the rim. He's just trying to draw the contact to get to the line, and it backfires on him. Like, certain things shouldn't happen. Certain things shouldn't be okay. And the only person that's going to be able to stop that stuff is the coach, Tom Thibodeau. So where does Tom Thibodeau say, at some point, I'm going to have to stop you from your bad habits? No, what Tom Thibodeau does, he gets frustrated, gets mad, and benches somebody. Benching somebody just because they're not giving you the effort you want or the product is not what you expect doesn't necessarily teach the person how to stop the bad habits. Calling him out is what does it. And I don't want to embarrass anybody, but Tibbs does it anyway by screaming at everybody, and everybody can hear it. But letting him know, RJ, you got to pass the ball. RJ, believe in your teammates. RJ, it'll come back to you. RJ, these guys are scoring. You'll get your chance. RJ, you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Stuff like that. Can we do that? Could someone say that on the coaching staff? Oh, God. Listen, Pudge, I'm from your lips to God's ears. I wouldn't be surprised if RJ does. I think RJ is a very a player who doesn't back down from anything. I definitely think that he would step up and do what needs to be done. Um, let me see and get my guy in here because I think he's somewhere. He's moving around, so I'm gonna get him while I can. Let me drop this down.
Yo,
Oh, what up,
yo,
D?
what's
Good to
good,
see you,
yo?
brother. I see
Hell
you
yeah.
out and about. How's
Yeah,
everything?
man. Busy's a good thing, bro. So I try to be as busy as possible. How you doing, bro? Can you hear
Good,
me?
good, good,
Okay.
good to hear. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I was turning my headphones back on. Yeah, man, that's good to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
What's
What's
what's your thoughts, brother? I want to get your thoughts because I know you're in transit.
It might be a little shoddy with the connection. Shout out to the chat, first of all. Shout out to the Who family that's in the chat. Shout out to you guys as well. You, John, Jose, still Nick fans. Thanks for having me. Um, well,
Oh, and you know what? Let me say
yeah.
this real quick. I thank you. I don't want to cut you off, but being that you just brought it up, I'll
Mm-hmm.
say it again on Monday night, and then
Mm,
guys. Unfortunately, but like I said, fortunately for him,
mm-hmm.
uh, he's always going to be with us in spirit, but the three amigos will no longer because Jose went for a job interview and got promoted, and he has a high level position now with his company. So he will no longer be our program person on Still Nick Fans. So shout out to Jose doing the
For
damn
real.
thing, making more money and doing things for his family. But he's with us, man. He's always going to be one of the three amigos.
Yeah. Hey, man, listen, he making six figures now and stuff like that. I ain't knocking the hustle. Good for Jose.
Now, I'm sorry, D. What were you going to say? I apologize.
Nah, that's all good, bro. You had to do that. I mean, what would you really build it on? I know you talk about RJ, and you mentioned something that caught my ear, and it was one of the reasons why I came on. And you said that we got to be patient. And I'm saying that the average lifespan of an NBA player is 4.2 years. He's going on his 5th year. How much more patience do we require?
Very true. So here's the reason why in which I say that we need to be patient is only because if RJ, and I don't know this, no one can tell the future. If RJ goes into this off season and says like the sample size is over, I know what my game is, I can now say I understand what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. Let me acquiesce and try to work on what I'm good at and build off of there. The 3-point shot, I'm gonna put it in the bag. If I'm open, I'll take it here and there, but I'm gonna work on getting into that mid range. I'm gonna work on finishing in the paint area. Continue to work on my free throws, and then facilitating. If he focuses on that this offseason, trim some of that weight. Maybe he even needs to work out with the rest of his teammates because he's always doing his own thing. Maybe he needs to work out with his teammates. I think that the Knicks should give him one more shot because it could change and he can go somewhere else and be a different style of player. And then we'll say, damn, well, why couldn't he do that here? That's all. But if he's going to be the same RJ, then you got to move on.
Well, I mean, based on your answer, if take it like a relationship, like, hey, if homegirl's better somewhere else, homegirl's better somewhere else. And that might be something that's better for both parties. But, okay, so here's an issue, right, with your proposed theory with him, is that he's not a 3. Do we agree?
Agreed.
He taking over Quentin Grind's spot?
No.
So what do you do with RJ?
That is the issue. That's the problem. I agree with you there. My whole thing is, as much as this. So here's the other thing that I think about when I'm thinking about it. If we can put RJ in a package together, like with Obi and some picks, and maybe somebody else has to go, and we can bring back a player that we want. A Jaylen Brown would be fantastic, but that's pipe dreaming. But if we can bring back somebody that will work for us, especially if it's a small forward that fits that need, great. But let's not forget, people around the league is watching this too. And as much as we were in love with RJ, other teams were in love with RJ too. And they've seen that he's regressed. They've seen that his defense isn't the same. So it might not be that easy to move RJ to get something back that we feel is okay for our $100 million investment. That's where I worry. We could be a little stuck.
Okay. And we are. Because he's out of 3. And I don't think, based on, and it is potential with Grimes, and we've had a good, amount of evidence to view it. But as of right now, this moment in time, there's no way. If I was Tibbs, there's no way I would ever think of benching Quentin Grimes for RJ back. So. Look, last night, right? He comes back from illness. Shoots 25 freaking shots. And Quentin Grimes had what? 13? I'm just going off the top of the head here. But
yeah, that's about right. Let me see.
Grimes was plus 20 the last 3 games. And now I understand this because, RJ wasn't there and Randall, and I get that. It's the end of the damn season.
Yeah.
Why are shots being taken away? And then you shoot 0 for 9 from 3 or 0 for 6, something like that?
Yeah, no, you're right. 0 for 9.
Oh, okay. Yeah, come on, man. Now, I did like how he read the game on some possessions yesterday. Now, I don't know if that's due to it's because the end of the season, but the Pelicans are playing for something. So I like the way he read the game yesterday to a certain degree. And I thought that was really encouraging. I think the issue with him at the end of the day is that he's not a 3. and he doesn't play a lick of defense, and I wouldn't get Quentin Grimes off that starting shooting guard or that starting unit for him. So I don't know what to do with the guy now. And it's not like, okay, you know, he's at the end of the 4th year. We have his bird rights. We have full control of the situation. Nope. You signed him.
Yeah. That's, man. We're it's a little tricky. It is a little tricky because RJ is he's just not. He's not what we thought he would be at this point in his career. And guys on the team that are younger than him are starting to supplant him. Like they're passing him on their evolution.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's very tough. It's a tough spot to be in. I think he's going through a lot, watching his teammates get better, and he's struggling.
And people will say, look, listen, he's averaging 20. Was it like 5 and 3 or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, 22 years old, and I get that. And if you look at the face, you know, on the surface of those stats, I can see what you're getting at. When you dig deeper and you get into assist to turnover ratio, you get into the lack of defense, you get into poor percentages from parts of the floor, especially the paint, no mid-range, not shooting well from 3. You know what I'm saying? Like, these things have to be accounted for. And, you know, the Chickens are going to come home to roost in the playoffs if he plays like this, because it's going to be it's going to be magnified now, you know? And if he's not playing defense and he's not shooting well, guess what, Ron? Tibbs is going to bring in Josh Hart. And Josh Hart will be playing 32, 33 minutes a game that series, while RJ will probably be around 25, 24 if he chooses not to do those things. So now back to what you were saying. Now it's the off season. His value's gone down on the first year of his contract because he's not even being utilized in the playoffs. So if I'm the Knicks, do I have to now overplay him, overuse him, you know, like high usage him, high volume him? Because now to make amends as to a proper trade exchange? I thought they did that this year. It didn't go too well.
That's a good point. And so this is where I worry a lot about what, you know, they're going to be doing going forward, because I think that they're in a tricky situation. Right now, we're in La La Land as Knicks fans because we're not really necessarily thinking about Emmanuel Quickley could walk away from this team. Okay. Emmanuel Quickley may want to be in a position where he goes somewhere else and gets that starting role and he's able to control his destiny in that way, because he is getting better. He has shown that he can score the ball. He can facilitate here and there. So his defense has gotten better. So he can do a little bit of everything. I'm just saying, back to my point earlier, I know he can facilitate. I'm just saying he's not the true facilitator that I like on the Knicks in a backup role. But, you know, so stuff like that, you got to worry about him. Then a year after that, you got to worry about Grimes. Obi's supposed to be getting paid, but I don't think Obi's going to be here much longer. Paid, bro. Yeah, Obi's not going to be here much longer. So, you know, these things are just issues they're going to have to deal with. And then you say, I was thinking the other day, Fournier is going to be coming off at some point. But remember, we got to pay Josh Hart. So that's kind of like a wash there. Like, so the Knicks they have some things to kind of get through here. And when you're paying a guy $100 million and he was like supposed to be the young face of your team, but now other guys are looking better than him, and then your other whatever so-called star players are definitely doing their thing. RJ's in a tough spot, and the Knicks are in a tough spot.
Yeah. No, and then quickly too, because as you just said, you don't see him as like a prototypical point guard, right? Or like and that could be an evolving stage. That could be a growth with him. Especially, I mean, he's still so young. But what does that do with him and Grimes? And is this playoffs kind of like a thing as to, okay, like who starts next season? And because then if Emmanuel Quickley, let's just say, for example, Grimes has a bad series, right? And it quickly pops off. Ladies and gentlemen, you just welcome in your new shooting guard for next season.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So, you know, it's they're in quite and people say, well, they got cheap contracts. It's not just about the money. It's about the decisions that you make with the money and how long will they impact you, and could they impact you in the long run. And they got some choices to make. And RJ Barrett is at the nucleus of that decision making as far as how they want to go with the cap, because and this is a big because. Let's just say, for example, Ron, right? Let's say Knicks have a stellar first round, like stellar, and they make it to the second round. And let's just say they do okay, right? They put up a fight, but we know they're overmatched. They need pieces, right? How do you get the guy? How do you get the star? See, you would have to trade, right? You would have to trade that RJ Barrett contract. You would have to get rid of that Evan Fournier, that stuff of that nature, right? But now it becomes the issue, and we talked about this all the time, players for players, right? There's not too many stars in the league. So as an opposing GM, right, or an opposing basketball operations, right, I need something to replace what I'm giving up, at least to that degree. It doesn't have to be exactly, because it depends on where I'm going. Am I starting over again? And am I doing a maneuver here? This guy's unhappy. He's forced me. We don't know that. But I'm saying typically, though, and you deal with fantasy and stuff like that. Like, dude, I'm not giving you a player unless I'm getting something back of value, right?
Yes.
That would at least equate to what I'm giving up.
Right.
So you're not going to get a star like that unless it's free agency. But here's the thing. Any free agent stars coming next year? Because last time I looked, free agency with stars, there's not a long list of that. And I'm being nice about that. The next year is when. So do you just ride with RJ Barrett? They have a lot of questions. And we're definitely going to see what these guys are about, especially with these playoffs coming up and the upcoming season. Because they are going to get well, it depends how it goes in the first round. But most likely, everybody will be back next year. So very interested to see how they grow and evolve this process.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. That it's going to be very tricky, and look, I'm not opposed because they're not going to be able to keep everybody. It's tough to keep these young guys, and you hopefully the young guys get to a point where you want to be able to pay them. But if you get to that point, then you realize it's always the same case everywhere. You can't pay everybody. We saw it, and I'm not saying that these guys are on that same level. But it was still, everybody was a part of it. You had to look at OKC, Harden, Durant, Westbrook. What's the backup point guard's name? I forgot his name.
Talk about for the Clippers?
Yeah. No, for OKC. Remember when they had the whole mix of. They had Harden. They had They had Harden. They had Durant.
Oh, Reggie Jackson.
Westbrook. Reggie Jackson. He was another one. And at that time, Reggie was looking like, oh, man, they got another one just waiting in the wings. All these guys, they had to figure out a way to pay them all. And that's why they lost them all. Well, most of them at the time. And I'm not saying the Knicks are on that same level, but you're at a level where, 100 million, 80 to 100 million is nothing to sneeze at. If you got 4 or 5 guys all making, that's a good amount of money. So you're in the same situation. You got to figure out, and then you brought in a guy who might command somewhere in between 60 and 80 or something like that with regards to Josh Hart. It's a lot.
Well, listen, look, decisions are everything, right? Because you brought up the OKC situation. Reality is at that time, they chose, hey, buddy, what's up? How you doing? Sonic, what's good? Oh, good boy. So, sorry. They chose Ibaka over James Harden.
Right.
So, you choose James Harden over Ibaka, you have a different decade. But that. So it's decisions too with this. That's why I felt that, and people try to downplay, and I get it's the fandom, but you should never given a guy money that didn't prove anything, and he hasn't proved nothing. So it's interesting, man. We'll just have to find out. Don't want to get too hypothetical, medical stuff.
I mean, I will say this though, and remember, as I say it once again, guys, RJ was my favorite player on the Knicks. But I would have been a lot happier, and I said this last year, if the Knicks let RJ play out the year and then sign them at the end of the year. Oh, imagine what would the conversation be right now if RJ didn't already get the money? Well, you know what it'd be. It'd be bye RJ. That's what it would have been.
He gotta go.
Sheesh, what a difference, man. What a difference.
And
it's
that's
crazy.
still the topic for the most part. If you ask the majority of Knicks fans, that's pretty much they're in the same place. But now you got a price tag attached. You got some extra luggage that you didn't have before.
It's very true. But you know, I like I said, I'm still, I don't know what it is. Maybe because I watched, I saw a picture of RJ the other day on Twitter in his Duke uniform, and I just couldn't believe that was RJ. Like this dude was ripped up, man. And seeing him like that, it didn't make me go look at old RJ games. RJ could be, I don't know what happened to that RJ. I don't know if he can even get back there, but I think there's a chance he might be able to if he puts in that work. So I don't know. I hope he can, but I just much rather believe that if he puts the work in the offseason, maybe he can turn things around. Whether it happens with the Knicks or not, I don't know. But I think he can do that. And it makes me think about certain guys. Like we all know a lot of people, even though we know how Obi's game is for the Knicks, it doesn't necessarily fit this Knicks team. We know that, and then he's behind Julius. It's just never going to really work. But some people, a lot of people think that if you send Obi somewhere else where he's able to get the minutes, he'll produce and he'll have a good NBA career.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Yeah. And another thing too is that with RJ is that I don't entirely put it on him because to a certain degree he's just doing what's being told. Example. Sophomore year, they lose to the Hawks, but you were encouraged. Wow, RJ Barrett shot 40% from three last year. Wow, this was his best year as far as statistically. He shot really well for the field. So, he was looking decent defensively against shooters, which people forget that. So it was like, okay. And I think what happened was that, and organizations, it's not just the Knicks, organizations do this. How many small forwards do you see play premier small forward against premier opposing wings and stuff of that nature that is RJ Barrett's size, stature, and metrics? It's not a lot of them. Jimmy Butler,
not a lot.
And he's a star. So, and Jimmy Butler is a dog on defense, and he always was. So, I thought it's kind of out of RJ's control. Example, second year, great. You push him off the spot where he thrived in and brought in Evan Fournier, which you're not playing a year later. Less than a year later, my fault.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you say, hey, RJ, you did like some Professor Clump stuff to him. Where it's like, all right, RJ, you gotta get beefy, you gotta get bigger, and to play this three because we brought Evan Fournier, and it's just it hasn't worked. And I don't care what the 20 points per game says. Defensively, it's digressed. The percentages from sophomore year have heavily digressed. As far as this, especially the corner 3-point shooting. His rim percentage has always stayed the same. So this is year 4, Ron, and you're still dealing with 58, 59% at the rim. So I don't want to chop him into 100 slices, but I think management or the operations does have a part as to what is going on because they totally tried to change the dude's identity as to what he was and what he played for year on top of year. And that was him being a bully guard. That's what RJ Barrett was. That's what he was in Monteverdi. That's what he was at AAU before Monteverdi. That's what he was in Duke. And David Fizdale even put him at the point guard opening night.
Yep,
and he played the 2 in the second year. So it's like saying that, you're an artist, Ron, and you've been painting for 20-something years. And now I'm like, hey, Ron, listen, you're going to have to drop that. We're going to need you to be an electrician. And he's like, yo, I mean, I don't know anything about being an electrician. Like, you know, and he's winging it. So I do feel for him that way. But you know, the fact that we need a 3-and-D is not RJ Barrett's fault. Because I could have told you RJ Barrett's not a 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we at, sir.
I mean, like, and you make a good point too. Like him being in a position where he's at, them wanting him to do certain things, and then also allowing him to get away with certain things too. But the putting on the extra weight, like that's also another mistake to me. Who in the hell is RJ banging with centers and power forwards? Like, we don't even use him that way. Why did he need to put on weight to play the small forward role? RJ was strong to begin with. He came into the league stronger than a lot of his peers at the shooting guard position, and he could always get into the paint whenever he. It was never an issue about RJ bullying his way into the paint. He could always do that. The issue was him finishing at the rim, and I said this the other day. It's not even him finishing through contact. He could take contact. He just wasn't finishing. Sometimes he's looking for content when there's nothing there, and it was affecting his shot. But I just think that was a mistake. And I think the Knicks did that across the board, though. You know, that was the year that they bulked up. Mitch, Julius bulked up, and then everybody bulked back down. They slimmed down, but RJ kind of missed the memo. He still has it.
You know, and another thing too is that the guy was already slow. Yeah, the guy was already sluggish. I just want to know the medical minds that got together and said, you know what will make RJ's game better? What's that, Jim? We're gonna make him heavier. So then he's slower and more sluggish than he was 15, 20 pounds ago. Somebody make it make sense for me.
Yeah,
it's the same thing with Mitch too.
Yeah, and look at how not only first off, shout out to Mitchell Robinson. As much as I get on him for complaining, Mitch puts in that work. Okay, Mitch put on that extra weight. Oh, this is not working. I'm getting beat. I'm looking sluggish. I can't move. Mitch wasn't even dunking the same way when he put on that extra weight. He dropped 15 pounds within 2.5 months to 3. He dropped it pretty quickly, whatever it was.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
And then he started getting back to the way we were used to seeing Mitch somewhat. Yeah. I mean, you're never going to get back to that spry 18, 19-year-old, whatever, but he was getting back to it. And then this year he came into camp back at a more, manageable weight that made sense. He got a little bigger up top, but he slimmed down the rest of his body, and he's been having a very decent season. Mm-hmm. So why that didn't happen with RJ, I don't know. I'm hoping, like I said, that's why I'm hoping that he can go into this offseason and make some changes, make a cut to his diet, do whatever he's got to do. Yeah. At least, even if we don't keep him, because we still may move on from him, because the Knicks may say the writing's on the wall. We just got too many things down the line that we're going to have to figure out. Yeah. And he just doesn't look like fits into that. I don't know, but still it'll help his value. It'll help him whether he's with the Knicks or not. It's going to help him along the way. Yeah.
No, I hear you. And another thing you got to put into factor too is that, for this organization, they might be looking at this as kind of like a year one.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know if everybody else sees it that way, but I say that because of the contracts. Mm-hmm. I say that because of the Jalen Brunson contract. I say that because of Julius Randle contract. I say that because of the 2 years with Isaiah. I say that with RJ getting his next year. It sounds like a team that looks like that they kind of want to evaluate what is going on, which is very smart. You didn't have to pay RJ Barrett to do that, but so you do want to get that. I guess the concern that I might have is that, let's say, for example, they don't have a good first round, right? Will that plan be demolished? Because now Dolan may want to be thinking some other things now. Hey, listen, you guys have been here for 4 years, and you know how Dolan is. So it's very interesting, man. A very interesting Knicks team, bro.
Yeah, and the thought that I was thinking the other day is, can Dolan pay all of these guys? Yes, he can.
Of course you can.
And he has, like, he's got sold out arenas all the time, blah blah. My whole thing is, from the money side of it and paying that luxury tax and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Can and will Dolan do it? Probably. But how long will he continue to want to do it is the other question. Like, if you're paying RJ, Brunson, Randall, Hart, Grimes, Quickley, Obi would probably have to be gone. He can't pay all of them. But if you're paying all these guys and you're a decent team, but you're not making it deep in the playoffs, or you're not a championship contender, like, how long does Dolan say, well, I'm just happy with us being right here and this is where we're going to be? At some point, he's going to say, well, I'd like to win a championship too. I'd like to bring this little different look to this team and get us better.
Yeah.
Paying that luxury tax is not, $2.
No, it's not.
So, yeah. And we already talked about, I mean, we had the conversation before, D, that championship teams, elite teams, the only way to get better at a certain point is by trades, and they're all over the luxury tax.
All of them. Yeah. No, indeed. And I think if that's the scenario you're searching, where it'll be like, all right, man, we're going to do whatever it takes to do that, you got to make it to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Because you make it to the second round, that bank is now open for the next 3 or 4 years now. Because, hey, man, we got something here. Let's go ahead and let's bring in these better tier guys and stuff like that to fill certain positions and stuff like that, and we'll pay them $1.
Right.
Their key will have to be how many years to the money. But if they make it to the second round, I'll give a really competitive first round. I could really see Dolan saying, hey, all right, man, get what you need, bro. Because next year it could be the conference finals. You see? So I could see that. That's why it's very important for certain guys to step up. And I wonder if it is competitive, is it just going to be the Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle show? And if it is, which is fine, I'm just saying that if it is, then you have to make sure that you get proper complementary pieces for it.
Shout out to William in the chat. Salute. Good to see you, William, all the way from Brazil. And shout out to Sherwin. Let me see a couple other people real quick. Thunny got it in the building. Shaw Legacy. Appreciate you. Nick Jr. Real King. Almighty Finesse is here. Lion of Judah in the building. Visions is here.
Shalom.
Lewis Hedges is here. Appreciate all you guys. Shout out to Parrish Duggar. Thank you for the generous super chat. He says New York Knicks are underpaying everyone. They'll keep everyone. Yeah, I mean, can he keep people? Yes, the money is there. He can go over the luxury tax and keep. Yeah, but is this, will he want to? And then how long? Even if he does, how long would he even want to continue to do that if he's not getting the ROI? But I mean, it's a little different with Dolan because the Knicks franchise is so prominent. It's one of the best, money making franchises in the NBA. I don't know. It's really weird with Dolan. I don't know, but it's just how long would he want to continue to do that? Now, Sherwin said something.
Well, before you go to Sherwin, it's Parrish. I got to reply to Parrish. Parrish just puts everything in a bowl in a Christmas gift, and then you open it up and there's nothing in there. The thing is that, we understand that everybody's getting underpaid. Listen, Brock Aller, one of the reasons why he was brought here was because he's tight with the money, bro. So we know that already. The thing that because everybody's getting underpaid, if you're underperforming and you're not reaching certain quota marks and stuff of that nature, that means nothing now, because you're gonna have to move off that, and then you have to go ahead and question. Well, now am I moving off? And we talked about before, is it equating back? At least to some degree, whether it be in draft picks, whether it be in young talent, whether it be in a piece that I need for the bench or some of that nature. So everybody being underpaid is just a side of the story. If you're losing, that don't mean jack.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Sherwin says the money is not there. The new CBA will stop that. Now, there may be some truth to that, but then I thought the whole NBA is about to experience a new influx of money because of the new TV contract is going to go into effect, and so that will give teams a little bit more money. I don't know the particulars, but I thought there was something happening in the next 1 to 2 years with regards to that. So I don't know if it offsets or we'll see. But I think the money is there for Dolan and the Knicks to pay certain guys if he wants to. Now,
Right.
Building Block said something very important because he says reports are that Maxey is looking for 5 years, $200 million. What is IQ getting? Well, let me tell you this right now. As good as IQ is and how he's becoming better, solid defender and a better offensive weapon for this Knicks team, I believe Tyrese Maxey is still a little better than him. And it's splitting hairs because that Quickley is definitely getting his stock and his value is rising. I still think Maxey is a little better, but I also think Maxey means more to Philadelphia than Quickley means to the Knicks. If Quickley sits out, and the Knicks have everybody, and Quickley sits out, I'm not saying this Knicks team doesn't miss a beat. I'm just saying this Knicks team can figure out ways to win and get stuff done. When Maxey is out of Philadelphia struggles over there for whatever reason. Joel Embiid does what he does, but Harden is wishy-washy. You don't know necessarily what Harden you're getting, and he's not the same player he used to be. When Maxey ain't there, that's a different team. So I think that plays into Maxey's favor.
Shout out to Blocks, by the way. Maxey ain't worth no $200 million, man.
No, he's not. But if that's what he's asking for,
yeah, that's nice. I wouldn't put that in the same conversation because, and I hear what you're saying about Maxey. I think the difference between Maxey and IQ right now is that Maxey's done it longer. Maxey came in,
that's true too.
And IQ impacted too as a rookie, but he didn't have the impact of Maxey. So, and especially in the second season and stuff like that. So, but. I don't know. I don't think that would have any hindrance with IQ.
Oh, I mean, from a business standpoint, I don't think that the Knicks are going to try to use Maxey as their barometer. Now, personally, as a peer, IQ might use Maxey as a barometer, but I don't know about that. Like, there's a difference between those. I don't know.
Yeah. Another thing too is that the guy that's making the most money on this team right now, if I'm not mistaken, is Jalen Brunson. But his is declining, his contract, right?
Yep.
So IQ ain't making more money than none of those guys.
That's the hairy thing, D. That I was thinking about. We were talking about that on another show the other day. It's like could Quickley be in a position to be technically making more money than a lot of these guys on the team?
Randall will lose his mind, bro. He'll squeeze it till his head pops off, bro. You crazy. Hell no. Brunson will just give him that stoic look, and Dad be over there carving the tools up. I'm telling you, bro. There's no way it's happening.
That would be crazy, man. Oh, man, that's wild stuff. Shout out to Felicia Lee in the building. Salute.
Felicia.
She also agrees Maxey not worth $200 million. Nikki B from Harlem is in the building. He said Maxey not getting anywhere near $200 million. Yeah, well, this is all kind of crazy, man. Salute to you guys. Oh, salute to Visions. If I didn't say that already, salute, my brother. Yeah, this is all pretty interesting. I like it though. So here's my question, D. I want to. What do you think happens tomorrow's game? Because tomorrow, the Knicks play the Pacers, last game of the regular season. Andy mentioned that maybe we'll see Derrick Rose because this will be his last regular season as a regular season game as a Knick. But do you think? Well, see, the Knicks really don't have anybody. I guess it's going to be the same lineup. I was going to say, do you think they sit anybody? Do you think maybe Quickley gets a breather and maybe they let Deuce run the show and maybe bring Trevor Keels off the bench?
Yeah. Well, whether they win or lose tomorrow don't matter.
It doesn't.
So I could see Deuce getting 20 25. I don't think Quickley and and those guys like Grimes. I don't think you see him get too many minutes. I think you do get a Trevor Keels sighting. I agree with Andy. I could see Tibbs maybe even starting Rose. But he'll get burned out there. But yeah, as far as that, I'm pretty much with you and Andy as far as how that would work with those slight adjustments. But tomorrow don't really matter though.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Oh, I gotta ask you this. Even though I don't care, I knew this was gonna happen. How do you feel about what's going on with the Dallas Mavericks? No, they were so close to being able to get into that spot, and they just folded. They just yesterday. I'm gonna tell you. I don't know if you heard earlier. Last night. I was pissed. I'm okay now. I moved on.
Okay.
I understand that he has decided. Listen, I'm not going to throw my starters out there. This is what it is. I can make that decision. This is what's going on. I'll throw Luka out there for a little bit, and the rest of these guys are going to play. Yeah. But Hardy, to have Jalen Hardy out there balling in the first half, and then you bench him for the second half, dude, that is ridiculous, bro.
Yeah, well. No, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, what do you think about all this, man?
I think Dallas finally came to their senses, and it was something that I had advocated for them to do since the beginning of the season, because they just didn't have the roster. They didn't have. They just losing Jalen Brunson for nothing when he was pivotal in your Western Conference. That's a blow. You know what I'm saying? And you felt that this year. They were just never right. There was always, at best, they were playing mediocre 500 basketball. And and then they brought in Kyrie. They figured, hey, listen, let's bring in a big name. Let's bring in a guy that's one of the best, one-on-one, attackers in the league and stuff of that nature. And it didn't work because he can't play defense. And unlike Brunson, Kyrie could be highly inefficient with a high volume and a high usage. So, and I just think that Brunson's just a better teammate. I just think he has better energy on the court. And I'm not saying that Kyrie's not a pit bull. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's a different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you try to replace Jose, for example, with a guy named Tom, it may not work out the same. Even though he might be just as talented as Jose, you have that chemistry. You have that build with Jose that Tom can never, acquire too. So I think they tried something. It didn't work. Experiment failed. And, then they said, you know what, man, let's just get in this top 10. Knicks ain't going to get jacked. Let's get this top 10. And let's see if we could go ahead and get a piece, which they should have been doing at the beginning of the season, and it would have put themselves in a better position. But
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, I might have to find the Tom out there. He won't be as vocal as Jose. He'll probably just be behind the scenes, but it is what it is.
They got a couple of Toms out here for you.
Yeah, maybe. But I just feel bad. Like but everything else he did, I understand. It makes sense. I agree with you on that. I knew they were going to do it because this is your shot to do it. Unfortunately, the Knicks couldn't do it like 3 years in a row in the past. They had to go out there and win the last 4 or 5 games of the season. That hurt their chances. But whatever. He actually said, no, we're going to do it. But I just felt bad for Hardy, man, because Hardy was killing it. Now, mind you, maybe they talked to Hardy and said, listen, you got one half. Go do your thing. Maybe they told him. Who knows? But I felt bad. Like these guys have just, have wanting to get that shot to go out there and ball. And then for him to ball like that, and then he gets benched in a second. That was just wild.
Well, Hardy's a part of their long-term plans.
Yeah, he is.
Because the scouting report on Hardy, which we did on your show, was that he's a bucket. And that he could just score in a variety of ways. Him reading the game and him being able to, be able to pick apart the defense. And defensively, there's some issues there with him. But as far as putting the ball in the basket, he could do that, which is a guy that you would need on that type of team with Luka, especially that he attracts so much attention. So, listen, Mark Cuban the word on Mark Cuban throughout the league is that he treats his players like he'll literally wipe. Can I curse here or no? Right?
Oh yeah, I'm the PG rated show.
Okay, they could. He will wipe their butt with golden toilet paper if required, in order to, because this is the type of things he does. And
Wow.
I don't see Luka going anywhere personally. I think he's getting treated too fantastically in order for something like that to happen. Just as Dirk Nowitzki, bro. He took care of Dirk for years, man. And Dirk is still with that team. He scouts for them and stuff of that nature too, and he's a voice inside their operations and stuff of that nature. So I don't see him going anywhere. I think they're going to continue to build around him because what's the reality? How old is Luka Doncic, Ron?
What is he? 24?
No.
Oh, he's still that young?
He's 23, 24.
I feel like
puppy.
How long? What? How long has Luka been in the league?
5
Jesus
years.
Christ.
Because he came out with Trey, and he came out with Marvin Bagley the third.
24. Oh,
he came out with
God,
Ayton,
bro.
Yeah,
dude, I thought he was older. I feel like I've seen him forever. Damn, Luka's
he plays
he's
like
a puppy.
He played like he's 38 though, but
yeah, he's a puppy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're not moving off that, man.
Yeah.
Luka, whatever you need. What do you want us to get? Go to get Kyrie. Okay, we'll get Kyrie. Okay, it didn't work, Luka. Just bear with us. We'll get so and that's the way. Luka is a top 10. I some people might disagree. I still think he's a top 10 player in this league, and he's going to be treated like one.
No, that makes sense. Shout out to International Andy, always coming through with the international stats and slots and information and all this stuff. He says Luka had to play yesterday. It was Slovenian night. Look at you, Andy, digging deep. I hear you, Andy. I hear you. Hey, listen, it is what it is, but that's their issue. But good for them. Yeah, go ahead, take it up. Now, mind you, I still think we're going to be in a position to get that pick from a first round pick from Dallas, not this year, but maybe next year. I know it's in the same kind of because I don't think Dallas is going to sit on their laurels. Like they got Luka now. Luka wants to win. I think they're going to continue try to build. Now, oddly enough, I can't believe I'm sometimes you don't think. It just didn't occur to me. I never understood why they traded for Kyrie. I did not think it made any sense whatsoever. However, now that I'm thinking about it, one, they basically just traded for an expiring contract because Kyrie's leaving. So I'm like, oh, well, when I think about it like that, okay, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't have to give up much to get him. So
true.
It was So they figured, hey, it's a low risk, high reward because if it don't work, no big deal, and if it does work, then we're back in the playoffs and the whole nine like that. Talk about International Andy. He made you when you said that, it made me think. I don't care what people say. I don't really see Emmanuel Quickley as a backup point guard, so to speak. I think that's just putting him in a box personally. Like TJ McConnell's a backup point guard, like stuff like that. So, Monte Morris for Washington. Like I know he started this year, but he's a backup point guard. Like,
right?
Do you bring Rokus next year? And if so, when you bring him, he's your backup point guard. So, which means Tibbs, listen very closely, Tibbs. You got to play him. You got to play him at least 15, 20 a night, at least. And see what he does. What do you think about the possibility of Rokus maybe coming next year?
I will say that, and International Andy, this is your time to shine, man. You might need a new Rokus show, the Rokus update for everybody out there.
He's had another good year at Euroball, so that's why I'm saying, like, you just keep that there and let it rot or stale or it be moved somewhere.
So in 19 minutes of play, Rokus is averaging 8.4 points and 4.3 assists.
Yeah.
And about 2 rebounds per game. And
what's he shooting?
What's
wrong with the international stats?
Yeah, he's He's shooting 46% from the field,
How about from three?
39%.
Yeah, he's shooting something like 42, 43% from the corner or catch and shoot. I don't have my notes with me, but it's something like that.
Yeah. And
And
he's shooting 82% from the free throw line.
dude, and his role is diminished there because
Right.
that's just how EuroLeague runs. Rokus is still young. So,
Yeah.
those
No, I was going to say, just for context, he's averaging 8.4 points per game, but he's only shooting 6.4 attempts.
yeah, right.
So he's not shooting a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and also too in Euro, they play very systemized there and stuff of that nature. So I'm saying that you're going to tell me that in 15 minutes, Rokus can put up 6-7 points a game, 3.5 assists, a half a rebound too. And he already understands his role because it's the role he's playing in Euro. Okay, and also too, he understands how to what do you call that, to facilitate an offense. So, second round pick, you got none to lose. You might as well just bring him over and see what you got.
Yeah, and then I don't know if Margaret Edwards is still here in the chat or whoever else was, understands what I was trying to say earlier about Deuce, when I was saying that Deuce is not necessarily a facilitator, and I think the Knicks need to get a better backup point guard. It's not a knock on Deuce. Deuce is a good combo guard who has really good defense and can become a great defender and can become even better at his combo guard role. But it would be nice if the Knicks had somebody that they could count on just to go out there and facilitate and help them ball movement and stuff like that. In 19 minutes played, Rokus is doing that, right? 4.3 assists. And when we look conversely, Deuce was averaging, I know he doesn't play a lot of minutes, but he was averaging 1.1 assists. So the point is 19 minutes played is a backup type role in the NBA. Those are backup type minutes. So that's good. That's good. Almost, 4 assists, 4.5. It could be 5 on given. That's good. That's what you want. That's what you look for. So that's the type of stuff that I was talking about. We got somebody waiting in the wings. And to what D was saying, if Rokus can't come over next year, then I don't know why we have Rokus. I think then, the Knicks might even move on from Rokus and use him as a chip to trade, because at some point, like, there's a need, and I could see him fitting in. So that's a thought. I would love to see Rokus over here. Someone said something. I think I lost it. Yeah, Keith Turner said, we're not getting Luka or Jaylen Brown. That's just the reality of it. Yeah, that may be the case, man. That may be the case.
And to what Margaret said, right? Sorry about that. And what Mark, it's like, listen, man, we can't walk around on pins and needles in evaluating talent. And it's, don't take it personal. Deuce McBride will tell you himself, at the NBA level, he is not a point guard at this moment in time. He will tell you it himself. He doesn't break down the defense like that and get guys involved. He's not orchestrating the offense like that. With his initiation of the offense is running up past half court and giving the basketball to somebody and running his set off the basketball. That's as far as it goes. Yep. So that's not a point guard.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, that ain't a knock. It's just what it is. Our job is to always find something better in order for us to be the best that we could be. So we do have holes at the backup point guard. That's something that we do need to clear up. If Emmanuel Quickley is playing like this, you want him to be the backup point guard? You don't want him to be a vital piece of this team where you kind of have him, sometimes at the point, sometimes at the shooting guard, playing the combo, doing this, doing that, because that's what Quickley is. That's what he does. So why put him in a box and let the bird fly, so to speak, right? And let him do his thing, while in the meantime we get a real backup point guard here. Because as you see, Jalen Brunson, right? And this hasn't been talked about with people, and I always forget to bring it up in the show. This was Jalen Brunson's worst year with injuries. these were the least amount of games he's played throughout all the years that he's been in the NBA. And then people might be slick and say, "Oh, but he already played 60-something." Yeah, that was because of COVID. So he's never really faced stuff like that. So that might just kind of give you like a little introduction to certain things where you would need a valid backup point guard to go ahead and lessen it up for Brunson a bit, for him not to maybe play so many minutes and stuff like that. And also, you could also use Brunson off the ball as well with the backup. It just gives more flexibility. It gives more options. It was something I would definitely explore if I was Knicks management.
Yeah. And the other thing is, remember, and I remember Andy saying he's not sure that Rokus will ever play for the Knicks because of just the dynamic we got here, and then what Rokus probably wants for himself too. But I will say that, one thing that's going to happen is Derrick Rose isn't going to be here, so that's a spot that's going to open up, right? They might have to move on from Obi, whatever. It's a possibility. At some point, Fournier is not going to be here. Now, I get it. Like, the rotation is what it is. But I want to say the other thing is, look, if you're battling for a spot on this team, if it's all about competition. And Tibbs is going to put Rokus versus McBride, like as far as competing to get those minutes. And Rokus may beat out McBride for those minutes, because even though McBride is a better defender, Rokus is not a slouch defensively. He can hold his own, and so there's other things that he can do on the court that might put him ahead of McBride. And he obviously, I see people in the chat, he was picked ahead of McBride too, but yeah, like that's why competition is important and it's healthy. And Rokus is going to have to fit in to that idea too. I mean, he has to earn his stripes in the NBA. So it is what it is. But I would love to see Rokus here. Yeah, it would be great.
Yeah, it's not wasting the investment. Just see what the investment brings. Say, look, if it don't work and he wants to go back to Barcelona, that's fine, bro. You know what I'm saying? And if another team's interested in him, then good for Rokus. But at least you took the time out to assess the investment and see what it's going to bring you. It's not like he's playing Euroball and he's on the bench and he ain't getting no burn. He's playing against probably the second or third best league in the world, bro, and he's producing. So why would you not at least give that a look and see what it can bring you?
Right. That's just very true. Very true. I think it's all going to be very interesting to see what takes place. Before I get out of here, I want to get your thought. I wanted to get your thoughts real quick. So, I mean, I'm gonna dive into this next week, because then it's real next week. But just on a first round matchup versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, how are you feeling about this, bro?
Look, I won't give too much because believe me, it's going to be the topic of discussion.
I know.
And we don't want to repeat ourselves too much more than what we already got. But to keep it very brief, I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to be a circus. I think ESPN, I think NBA, the channel or wherever these plugs are to these days, this is going to be crazy. And every game is going to be under the microscope. Donovan was supposed to be there. They got the number one overall defensive rating in the league. They still do, by the way. So, and then, Jalen Brunson only getting paid that much. He came in, nobody expected it. So there's a lot of stories. There's a lot of things that is going to make this very, very exciting. I don't want to see crap that I saw from 2 years ago. Now we have a different roster, and we didn't have Jalen Brunson, which Parrish will bring up, millions of times, and he's 100% correct about it, and that's a difference maker there. And anybody would say, what's the difference between this year and last year? Jalen freaking Brunson changed everything. I didn't think he was going to impact it like that. And we were on the Jalen Brunson train, but we didn't think it was that. So that was a very intriguing surprise for us Knicks fans. So I think Jalen Brunson, I think Randall, I think now that's the thing too, and maybe we'll talk about this during the week. With Randall being out 2 weeks, hopefully that's it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then him coming back, does it? I don't think it will do anything because Tiz just plays ISO for the most part. And, you know, he'll run some sets every now and then and stuff like that to get some fluidity and to change up the defense a little bit. But when push comes to shove, he's going ISO. So I don't think there's too much that would have to be changed from that aspect. But one thing that I don't like with Randall not being there is that one of the big things that had to be done, and I say this and I got to go, is that your off-ball defense is a gigantic issue moving into this first round. You cannot have, Ron, I'm telling you right now, you heard it here first. You are not going to be able to have Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, and Julius Randle too long on the court together during playoff basketball. I guarantee it on everything that I have. Can't do it. It's too many poor defenders out there once. And although Randle is the better out of the crop, they're all pretty bad off-ball defenders as well. So, and especially that Cleveland might stretch it out a bit and stuff like that. It's very interesting. Mitch will be very important. In the case of him having to deal with Jarrett Allen or Evan Mobley. So he becomes very important. Defensive schemes as to what they want to do with Donovan is going to be very important. Because one thing you don't want to do, you don't want Donovan Mitchell going off for 40. You want to make a statement. You want to, especially when he's supposed to be there in the whole nine. I think when you let him do that, because don't forget, Garland hasn't been there before. Mobley hasn't been there before. Allen was there with the Nets briefly. But for those guys coming into a new territory and seeing their guy go off for 40, it's going to give them pounds of confidence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to take away that confidence. I want them to look scared. So, you know, I could do this all day with that. But, you know, we'll definitely go over the week. But to answer your question, Ron, I think it's going to be very exciting.
I'm with you on that. I agree. I think it's going to be incredible. I think the press and the storylines are going to be all over the place because there's some really huge storylines there. Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's probably the best opening round matchup that you could see in the NBA for the playoffs because of the story that's a part of it. The Donovan Nick thing is huge. And in the end, if Donovan beats the Knicks, that's going to be its own story. Or if the Knicks beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and Donovan, that's another story. So it's going to be really incredible. And shout out to Keith Turner. I see you putting something out there in regards to Rokus, but I got to tell you, I've looked. I took about 10 minutes. When you put it early, I was looking. Then I took another 5 minutes right now, and I looked again. I do not see anywhere where the New York Knicks have relinquished the rights to Jokic.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, they still have the rights. And I'm just looking at something. I just saw something from February 2023. The Knicks still have the rights to Rokus Jokic. So I don't know what you saw, but I just don't see it right now. I'll keep looking, but I haven't seen it. Just wanted to let you know.
Okay, Ron, let me get out of here, brother. But
all right, brother. Hey, it was good to chop it up with you. It looks nice out there.
Oh, it's beautiful out here. Yeah, hey. I'm chilling out. I was going to meet with my guy and stuff, but I said, let me go ahead and chop up with you real quick. What do you call that? Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody. Ron, thanks for having me. And if you don't mind, I'm going to be on Monday, 12. We're going to celebrate the regular season.
There you go.
And we'll give like our own little awards and stuff of that nature. We'll do little stuff like that just to celebrate the dope. Team. Yeah. And rejoice in their accomplishments and what they did this year. And then right after we get over that, little fluffy stuff, then we'll go ahead and get into this playoff talk and really dig down what needs to be done in order for this team to have a successful playoff run this season. So I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, brother. Dope. Guys, definitely tune in to D's World of Hoops. Like, comment, subscribe if you're not familiar. And if you haven't, check them out. And then definitely check out this Monday show at 12. It should be a good one.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate chat. Hoop family, take care. Ron, take care. Have a great day, everybody.
You too, brother. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Shout out to Parrish Duggett. Thank you for the generous super chat, my brother. He said the New York Knicks went from building RJ to tell him to perhaps running his ruining his playing mentality. RJ needs reprogramming. That I agree with Parrish. That's the thing. I just think that RJ, I don't want to give up on him. I think he needs a different approach this offseason. Every offseason, RJ works out with his own people. Nothing wrong with that. He can still work out with his own people a little bit, but I think the Knicks need to bring him into the fold. I think he should be out there with some of our guys too. I think he should be working out with Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Julius Randle. I don't know if they have that type of relationship outside of basketball, like outside of the when they're with the team normally during the regular season, but I think he needs to come into the fold and work out with other guys and really get into that, get back into that type of stuff. Last year was a little tricky, a little hairy because apparently he was supposed to be playing with Team Canada. He started off about to play with Team Canada, and then I don't know what happened there. That was a whole interesting thing. So this year, I don't think that's going to be the same case. So I think RJ needs to go back to the lab, go back to what got him here. Go back to, as D said, the Monteverde days, back to the Duke days. What got you noticed, recognized, and allowed you to become the third pick in the NBA draft? Go back to that type of basketball. Don't worry about this 3-point shooting. Okay. The league has changed, but you don't have to change with the league. You can adapt in your own way to what works for your game. Work on that mid range, work on getting to the basket, work on your free throws, work on your lateral movement on defense and stuff of that nature, and then maybe cut a little weight just to get yourself a little quicker, a little healthier. All the star players did it at one point. Remember there was like 4 or 5. No, this is longer. Time flies. Maybe 6 or 7 years ago, that the top guys who are friends decided they were going to all go on these diets and cut their weight. LeBron did it. Wade did it. Melo did it. Bosh did it. Chris Paul did it because they're all friends. They were all talking. They all said, listen, we're going to all go on these diets and slim down our body fat. Remember they did all that? And it translated to their games, them being quicker and yeah, like sometimes it's how you got to look at it. He's 22 years old. He's young. It shouldn't be an issue for him to be able to cut some weight and kind of work out and get a little bit more fit out there. Maybe it'll help his speed. But like I said, outside of that, he's got to work on the rest of his game and some of his bad habits, like believing your teammates. Like your teammates can take you to other levels in this game if you believe in them, because they'll get it right back to you. They know. Listen, guys on this team know RJ can score. All right, he's just inefficient with it, and he's looked worse this year as opposed to other years. But they know he can score. Thank you once again, Paris. Appreciate you, bro. And yes, Pudge, celebrate a successful season, because that's what this was. This was a successful season. If nothing else happens, which I hope more happens, but the Knicks did a good job this year. In the end, it was a good job. Listen, that could be it, Pudge. If the Raptors won RJ and bring him back home to Canada, and because that could be. Remember, the Knicks are Tom Thibodeau is in love with this. Well, I don't know that him personally, but I know the Knicks are very high on OG Anunoby. That still could be out there, and you do know that the Raptors are willing to move OG. They put him out there. They're not going to get what they wanted, I don't think, but so that could still take place. I don't know if that's necessarily the answer, but it might not be bad for the Knicks considering what we have. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's what I got for today. I'm happy to be able to chop it up with all of you. It's been a fun show. Nice to see D jump on and chop it up with him. And shout out to the chat. You guys have been great. Thank you for being here and rocking with me. As I said, check out that Dexter Henry interview if you haven't, from this past Monday. It was a fun time. Definitely enjoy his conversation, and look forward to seeing his SNY show today with Hector from the Morning Brew Sports, Knicks Morning Brew, and Yankees Morning Brew. Check that out. Uh, Jimmy Henry says RJ got paid and his effort changed. Josh Hart presence has affected RJ's mentality. Mm, mm. Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know. It's a tough one. That's definitely a tough one. I'm hoping. I'm like I said. I just want um all these Knicks players to have success with the Knicks, but sometimes you can't get everything. Like not everybody can be here. But I would definitely love to see the best of Obi, the best of RJ. Uh, but at some point, when it comes to down to, what these players bring to the table and how you got to pay them, at some point you got to move on. At some point, and I've said at some point like 3 times. Anna Grill says Reddish shenanigans could have changed his mentality. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, Nick Yak. I definitely believe RJ is trying. I just think RJ has picked up some bad habits. The 3-point shooting. Someone said something earlier. I don't. Ooh, wow, now I forgot who it was, but it was something about like if the shot is there. Oh, Thunny Music. If the shot is there, RJ has to take it. I don't know. I don't know. I've watched like even on our own team, we have an example of a guy who doesn't always take the shot. 2 guys actually, but one in particular. Quentin Grimes is always on that 3-point line. But he knows that sometimes, he'll get the ball, the defender's too close to him. He doesn't feel like the shot is going to be uncontested. So he'll put it on the floor and drive by. But his first step is quick and quickly and Grimes is quicker than RJ. We know that. But I'm just saying, you make the adjustment. You can't take that shot. Josh Hart has given up and passed up 3-point shots because he's like, oh, you know what? I don't see it right here. Just because RJ's open doesn't mean he needs to take that shot because sometimes it's not a good look. And yesterday he took 2 shots where the defender was somewhat close, and I'm like, I'm surprised he took those shots. And then that last 3 in the fourth quarter with the last couple minutes left, I really wished he made one more pass, but it is what it is. And he didn't even look good on the follow through. It was like he felt like it wasn't going in. And when you don't have that confidence in yourself, it's very hard to knock down those shots, especially when you need it. Um, Shout out to Felix Pizarro. Appreciate you, my brother. I think this is your first time I'm seeing you here. Thank you for tuning in and being in the chat. Appreciate you and subscribing. He said, great season overall. We exceeded expectations by far because Vegas had us winning 37 games and in the play-in. Facts, 100%, bro. And not even to mention what CBS Sports always writes about the Knicks. They always criticize everything we do. They give us horrible odds to win games. They gave us a horrible rating for Quickley. They gave Quickley a D plus or a D minus. Like, come on, man. Like, look what he's turned into. So that's why sometimes you can't listen to all these somewhat analysts. They don't necessarily see the big picture. They just give you a blind analysis, and they don't really do the deep dive. So it is what it is. Anna Grill says, Clyde always says, if you're not confident, don't shoot it. Facts. Because that last shot, dude, he did not look confident at all. And it's like, he's like, I got to take it because I'm open. but I don't know if it's going in. It's like, don't even shoot it. Sherwin says Grime has to work on his handle this offseason. Yeah, it could always improve. That's fair. Francisco Carrillo in the building. He said, Familia, we are here. Let's go there. I appreciate it. What's good, Francisco? Yeah, man. Look forward to it. Don in the building. RJ still has a lot of work to do all around. IQ is already outplaying him in every aspect of the game. RJ has no excuse not to work hard this offseason. Don't make us regret paying him. Facts. Like I said, right now, just being honest, RJ kind of looks like the odd man, like one of these things is doing their own thing type player. But that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. He can definitely continue to work on his game and improve what he's got going on out there to get his game to a better level. So let's not give up on him, but understand that he's in a little spot where the Knicks are definitely taking a closer look at how this whole team fits together and what makes sense and what doesn't. And if RJ was thrown in that Donovan Mitchell trade before, but then whatever happened at the end, believe me, if the Knicks are going to covet another star type player out there, RJ's name is going to be brought up, and the Knicks are going to be okay with moving him if that's the case. That's just how it is. It makes sense. IQ was not a good player the first 40 games of the season. Yeah, he struggled early on. And I don't know. Listen, that's another thing. We talk about RJ Barrett being a slow starter and struggling. What about IQ? You guys notice IQ gets off to slow starts too? I'm not going to say this year was better than last year. Last year he had a tough moment. IQ had a tough stretch. And he's had some, iffy moments this year too, especially in the first 40. But last year was, I think, worse. But is RJ not the only slow starter? IQ seems to start off slow too. Now, mind you, even in those 40 games when he was struggling offensively, he was playing better defense than he has played in the past, and better defense than RJ. But JJ, Nick Yakta. Oh, you guys are talking about RJ possibly averaging 20 points for the year. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. But I'll tell you one thing: if RJ looks like he is on one and shooting a lot of shots, then you know what's on his mind and what he cares about. And to me, if I see that, it's just going to make me continue to think that RJ doesn't have his priorities in the right place. So let's pay attention to that tomorrow, guys, in that game versus Indiana. If RJ is going for 30 plus, 40 plus, 50, whatever it is, and he seems like he's chucking, it tells you a lot about RJ Barrett and what he is focused on. I mean, in the game where Jalen Brunson had 48, it was like 3 minutes left. And he could have easily chucked or 2 minutes left. It was enough time. I want to say like 2 minutes and a half or something. It was enough time that if he wanted to get 50, he could have got 50. But he didn't. He took one shot. He didn't make the shot. And that was it. He let it be. Nick Yak says he needs 44. 47 points, Sherwin says. Well, okay, so he needs over 40 points to average 20 for the season. Like I said, I don't know, man. If I see him going nut like that, if he's on, it is what it is. If he's hitting his shots and he's got it going, what are we gonna do? But if he's chucking and he's shooting like 3 for 9 or 3 for 10 or something from 3, and he's just continuing to chuck, I'm not going to be happy. And maybe averaging 20 is also an incentive in his contract too. Like averaging 20 or more points might get him an incentive. I don't know what the incentives are because we know his contract is full of some incentives. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, like I said, it's been a great show. Thank you guys for being here. As I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still, Knick fans, we'll be back again, whether it be on Saturdays at 11 for Know the Ledge with your guy Ron, or if it's on Mondays for SKF Weekly at 9 p.m. with John. Oh man, I can no longer say Ron, John, and Jose. Oh no, it's tough. Damn, that sucks. But shout out to Jose once again. I'm glad for you, my brother. I appreciate you. Or on Thursday nights on the Nothing But Knicks network for the NBA report on NBK at 8 p.m. or so. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Shout out to the chat. You guys have been great. You guys have been fantastic today, going back and forth. A lot of information. Really good conversation. Once again, shout out to D from D's World of Hoops. Check out his show on Monday at 12 noon. He's going to give it up for the Knicks season, as well as get into other things going forward, and probably the start of the playoffs versus the Cavs. Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. It's been great. And as I said before, I said it earlier, definitely check out Andy in his show on NBK that aired earlier in the week with Daniel John from Knicks Nation Germany. Really good interview. Nice conversation. All right, guys. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Do something fun. The weather's starting to get nicer. Enjoy yourselves. Spend time with your family. And if not, just go out there and do something. Take a walk or do something. Just enjoy it. The weather's getting better. Wherever you are, it may be already good, but on this side, it's getting better. All right. Take care, y'all.